Last time on Square Roots, we visit the fabulous Sierra Madre Casino to reunite with our friends, try our luck at the tables, and maybe be trapped forever in the physical manifestation of one man's hubris. Later, we hike up a mountain to meet our favorite DJ.
Hey dum-dums, it's time for Square Root Podcast!
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I'm joined by Johnny. That's a good one for Johnny. Johnny, what do they call the fingers and
penises? Hand penises.
Hand penises.
Johnny Hand Penis Brandon. That's the second week in a row we've made penis references towards Johnny.
If he's known for one thing, it's his Bears and Games YouTube channel. If he's known for two things. It's his Bears and Games YouTube channel and cock.
Okay, moving on. I'm sorry for talking over your intro there, Vanessa. You were a pro and just kept going.
Yeah.
Also joined by Vanessa.
Hello.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about your favorite classic RPGs, one chunker at a time. And this is our penultimate episode in our Fallout New Vegas series.
Yay!
Yeah, we're going to talk some old world blues today.
We promised to talk Old World Blues and Lonesome Road, and we're delivering on 50% of that promise.
Yay! Yeah. Oh, I should update the Facebook group that we are not going to do Lonesome Road. That would have been too long of a chunker. That would have been like 12 hours for Johnny.
12
I know it would be 2 hours for. I know it would have been 2 hours for Jim, but
there's a
for
lot
me,
you can explore in the Big Empty.
Yeah, there is. There's a lot you can explore in the Divide and Lonesome Road as well, but I feel like that's even easier to skip over in that one.
Mm-hmm. And none of it.
Because none of it's really consequential.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of like blowing up warheads to open new routes to stuff, and it's just a lot of it's unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
But it does tell a pretty cool story. We are going to talk about it next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that whole plot kind of puts a bow around a lot of the stuff that happens in the game.
It does.
But that's for next week.
Well, they do mention it all the time in this DLC and the last DLC. They're always talking about...
They reference Father Elijah and Ulysses a lot.
Mm-hmm. All roads lead to the Lonesome Road.
Mm-hmm. And this one ends talking about the last Lonesome Road you have to travel.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, before we get into all that business, any hot gaming news?
No, you sent an article today that said that all the hot gaming news is on YouTube. So I think people should just start going there for now.
Yeah, I got... so an agency that I've worked with in the past likes to send out case studies or studies. And they sent one today that was of particular interest that was like basically how to market to gamers in 2024. And it came with such great insights, like a lot of gamers get their gaming news on YouTube.
Whoa.
Wow. Thanks.
And then it had a graphic of Master Chief saying Pog, right?
It was, I think that was a character from that, what's that game where it's like a co-op online game and you're in a city and the city is like shut down. It's made by the Tom Clancy people, I think.
Oh, The Division.
The Division. I think that was a Division character.
I've never I've never really played it online. Oh no, I've played it with a friend of mine before.
I didn't put this in the chat, but there was also a graphic of he's like a medieval knight guy on a horse, and he has a shield and a banner, and the speech bubble says Leroy Jenkins.
Nice.
It's like, that's not Leroy Jenkins.
That's almost a 20-year-old
up-to-date references.
It is 20 years old. They didn't have an anniversary this year or last year or something.
I thought that was a World of Warcraft thing, and that
it is a World of Warcraft thing.
which started in 2004.
I was so disappointed when I finally sat down and watched that video clip, and I was like, this is just a skit. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not a funny thing that someone did. It's a skit.
It's definitely staged, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any other hot gaming news? I will say this isn't really news, but we're coming up. The release is imminent for my much anticipated Alan Wake 2. Very excited about that.
Ooh.
What I want to see in Alan Wake 2 is, you remember in the X-Files they had those like flashlights the size of someone's head? And
Yeah, the ones that like police carry, those big giant mag lights.
Yeah, I want to see Alan Wake with like a big mag light flashlight.
I want that, and I can't even tell you how excited I am that they're like tying it into Control so directly. I love Control. It's probably one of my favorite games of the last like 10 years. The fact that they're tying all that together in a shared universe, and that's awesome. And the Control DLC that ties into Alan Wake is awesome.
I got stuck
It's
at the
just
last
super
boss
cool.
of that one. That was really hard.
I love that they made the primary antagonist of that whole DLC that one really shitty character from Alan Wake, the one who runs that clinic for him. Oh, it's so good. I'm so excited.
Looks like Matt has made himself the host of the Zoom chat, I assume so he can hang up in fury that we started without him.
Anyway, I agree that Alan Wake 2 looks like garbage and that Control was a bad game.
Wow.
Wow.
I disagree on.
I'm
well, at
going to
least
edit
one of those.
myself in right there, and then I'm going to edit out
Yeah.
anything any of you have to say about it.
Any other hot gaming news from the crew? The gamer crew?
I heard there's a game about farts. It's called Jim's House, the game.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's true. I live at 123 Fart Lane.
Let's move on.
Who wants to level up?
I was hoping I would miss the level up because I have nothing to talk about.
Oh, then Matt, you go first.
Oh, come on. But I have nothing to talk about.
Vanessa like just leveled up like right before the show.
Yeah,
No.
it's true.
Well, then Vanessa should level up.
All right. Lads, I'm in love. For the first time ever. What a great show I saw this weekend. I'm smitten. Not with a real person, obviously. Real people are terrible. But with a performing persona. I went with friend of the show, Julie, to New York City to see the Tim Key Mulberry Show. Tim Key, you may know from shows like No More Jockeys or We Need Answers. I think he was on Peep Show a little bit. And Matt, what else has Tim Key been in? I know it's on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, he's from Monty Python, right?
No, it's not Monty Python.
Is he
It's
on Fox News?
It's not Fox News.
Oh, the IT crowd. The
thinking
IT
of-
crowd.
I'm
No,
thinking of Greg
that's-
Gutfeld.
That's Richard Iwadi. Johnny, any ideas? Tim Key? That's
No.
right. Taskmaster Series 1.
Oh, that show.
I've never heard of that. What's that about?
It's not really important. He also is the task consultant for every subsequent series. What does that mean?
What does that
Nobody will say. Neither he nor the production people will clarify what that role is. Anyway, he does this thing where he does sort of a persona performy, one-man showy kind of thing. It's a mixture of, I guess you could say, stand-up comedy and poetry. And this show was all about lockdown. And
Ew,
it was
that
very
sounds terrible.
funny and also very melancholy. And it was fantastic. It was this tiny little venue, like maybe 100 people. And I think it was the last show, so he claimed, that he would ever do of this particular piece, which he's done like 200 times. So it was great. Well rehearsed, good energy. Loved it.
Oh, well.
I liked it. Julie
Glad
liked
to
it.
know it was well rehearsed.
It was
God
well
forbid.
rehearsed.
He forgot his lines.
He forgot his lines.
In the middle of a monologue, he's like, line.
Yeah. I think one of the most fun parts is that he was already on stage when the audience was let into the small room, and he stood there for about half an hour just making eye contact with everyone who came in and glaring at them.
That's weird.
Great performance.
That's off-putting.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
Julie and I also went to dinner at a restaurant called The Dutch in Soho, and there we had deviled eggs that changed our lives. They were these crab stuffed deviled eggs. We both ate one of them. The waitress brought 4. When we ordered them, she's like, it usually comes with 3, but I'm going to bring 4 to avoid any conflict between you two. She brought 4 deviled eggs.
So the waitress nailed the two of you right off the bat.
Yeah,
She was like,
yeah,
these
she
two
can tell.
cats are going to hiss.
Yeah, we're going to claw at each other's faces if we have to choose who gets the 3rd deviled egg. They were so good that we, could not believe how good they were when we were eating them. We tried them and discussed whether or not we were enjoying, a shared hallucination of some sort, and then tried a little bit more. And even now, I can't believe that they were as good as we both thought they were at the time, because no food is that good. But if you're in Soho, near the Dutch, try the crab stuffed deviled eggs.
Do you
Highly
think
recommend?
Do you think that the chef had a ratatouille situation going on?
Yes, 100%. Also, we did both order the 10-year aged old-fashioned and had been sipping on that before it came to the table. Possibly impacted our willingness to enjoy things at that moment in time.
I'm going to cut in. I've been going to this restaurant called Wings, Etcetera for the last, year.
Basically the same.
And no, obviously not. But I've been going to this restaurant called Wings, Etcetera for the last
And
year.
getting the 10-year aged whiskey.
Because it's a nice little sports bar and it's well located for me. So anyway, I've been going there for a long time, but I never really eat. I'll have an appetizer, but I don't really eat. But I was up there this weekend and I had not. It was unintentional, but the only thing I had to eat all day was a piece of toast, and it was 6 p.m. And I was fucking ravenous. And so, for the first time, I ordered their burger. And I legitimately could not tell if the burger was the best burger I've had in my life, or if I was just that fucking hungry. Maybe I was...
Yeah, hunger, situation, atmosphere, company. There's so many things that go into your impressions of a meal. I guess the only thing for me to do is to go back to the Dutch and eat more crab stuffed deviled eggs, and maybe do it over the course of 5 or 6 times. At
good
some
news. I've bought us these plane tickets.
Hey, we're going to New York. Look at me. I'm walking here. Hey. So that was my very exciting weekend. And then my very exciting level up right before we started recording the show is I finished The House of Usher on Netflix. And I liked it. I liked it.
How was the House of Gushers?
House of Gushers. It did have some very gushy parts. So if you're squeamish about fake blood and prosthetics, you might not enjoy it. But I liked it a lot. If you liked, what was the Hill House one called, Jim? What did they call it?
The Haunting of Hill House?
No, but it had a name, didn't it? Don't they always have little different names?
Well, wasn't it Hill House and the second one was Bly Manor?
Oh, was it just? Okay.
Those are 2 different shows.
Well, I know, but Bly Manor is based on the turn of the screw, so I thought that Haunting of Hill House was not called Haunting
I'm pretty
of
sure
Hill
they
House.
call it Hill House.
Just Hill House, though.
Yeah.
Not Haunting of. Fair enough.
The show is called Haunting of Hill. They don't call the house the Haunting of Hill House. They call the house Hill House.
That would be a strange thing to call a house.
Where do you live? The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, what's it like? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Really chill, really nice, pleasant, cottage decor.
Good vibes.
Yeah. If you liked Midnight Mass, you'll like it. If you didn't like that stuff, more of the same. Maybe give it a skip. But I love actors doing long monologues. I don't mind poetry, and it had both.
A lot of just straight up poetic readings into the camera.
Yeah, like a whole
I
bunch
liked
of
it.
Poe.
Like it was a whole lot of Poe just spoken by actors directly into the camera, which
Yeah.
I thought was annoying at first, but I kind of grew to like, especially towards the end.
And some, deeper cuts. It's not just Raven, Raven, Raven over and over and over again. So that was pleasant. And as I aforementioned discussed, my one true love is a fictional poet now. So bring on more poems. I'm into it. And that's how I leveled up. I sort of don't want to let it go yet. I don't know. I'm enjoying the power. I'm enjoying the spotlight.
I came up with a
Trying to-
level up.
Great. Matt, how did you level up?
I watched I watched a show. You may have heard of it. It's called Our Flag Means Death.
Gay pirates!
Super gay pirates.
That's what I've heard of it. That's super gay pirates.
It is like an action comedy romance. The romances are definitely all gay. And I want to point out that, for me, that's a huge negative. No, I'm kidding. It was great. That is a Taika Waititi driven show. He plays the pirate Blackbeard. The main character is, anybody want to remind me of the actor's
Rhys
name?
Darby.
Rhys Darby or V?
Darby.
Rhys Darby. Who, we've probably talked about it on the show, but the premise of the show is that a landed gentry, maybe lord, hates his life and leaves to become a pirate, and meets Blackbeard, is played by Taika Waititi, and falls in love. And I finished the first season today. The second season is ongoing currently, and I am going to watch that, obviously. But I just wanted to talk about it. It was shockingly good. I mean, I like Taika Waititi's stuff. He's great at action comedy, and both the action stuff and the comedy were really hitting, I think, on all cylinders. Like, it's very funny, it's very engaging. And at the heart of the show is a big gay romance, which is, let's be real. In this day and age, that's still kind of a thing that you don't see that often.
Yeah, I've
Also-
never seen a show like that.
Well, you should watch
Sounds a little
Heartstoppers
too
on
woke for me.
Netflix. That's about a couple of
Because Colin
twinks
is on our flag
that
makes
fall in
death.
love.
He was
Yeah,
in
I think
Taskmaster.
that's why it made me feel seen, is that it was about middle-aged, kind of portly gentlemen falling in love.
There's a
At
great
least partly.
line where Will Arnett shows up at one point, and there's a great line where he looks at Rhys Darby and is like, "Who's the big lady?" And that made me laugh a lot. Rhys Darby as the landed, I don't know if that's the right term. Rhys Darby is the wealthy aristocrat, likes to wear silks and fine clothing, and it was fantastic. I was very engaged with that show. And it's not just those two. It's got a big cast, a lot of recognizable actors. The guy that plays Hodor, whose name I don't know. John knows.
Yes, of course I do. Off the top of my head, I remember his name immediately.
His name is Christian Nairn.
Oh, that's right.
Plus several recognizable comedy character actors. In fact, let's all vamp for a minute while I pull up the cast list, because there are people that... Flag means death. Cass.
Who's really funny that could be in the show?
Mr. Rittico
Greg
Martini.
Gutfeld, Jim Brewer,
Our show?
Kevin James.
I don't know if Kevin James is the right choice for a fifth
Matthew
host.
Mayer is somebody that is very recognizable. As I said, I felt like most episodes had at least one recognizable guest star, like Will Arnett, Fred Armisen, Kristen Schaal. Nick
Kristen
Kroll.
Schaal was so good.
Nick Kroll and Kristen Schaal together in their episode. Fantastic. Leslie Jones actually has a pretty big part to play. Tim Heidecker shows up in the last episode, which made me laugh because Tim Heidecker.
There's a guy called
Why is
Guz
Tim Heidecker
Khan.
popping up in everything now?
Has anyone heard
everything.
of this
very
Guz
popular.
Khan, Vanessa?
Yeah, Guz
I
Khan.
beg your pardon? Yeah, Guz Khan.
Yeah.
Oh, Guz
Yeah.
Khan. Taskmaster's Guz Khan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Nat Faxon, I recognized. Anyway,
Oh, I like Nat Faxon. Academy Award winner Nat Faxon.
he plays the
Always say that.
Swede, which is he's very good. Anyway, Our Flag Means Death. It was I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Like I read that it was very good. I knew that it was like a gay comedy, but it was more. It's tough to say because like I don't want to say that it was action heavy. There weren't fight scenes, really, maybe one or two, but there was a lot of
It was
action.
like an adventure. It was an adventure show for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect, John. It's an adventure show. I really enjoyed the hell out of it. And I'm glad that I finally watched it. And season 2 is currently ongoing, so I'm going to catch up on that. The end of the season was very kind of heartbreaking and just a fucking great show.
There's a season 2?
Season 2, I think there are 6 or
Yeah, it's
7
already out.
episodes out already. The first season was 10 episodes, so I assume the second season will be the same.
My Twitter buddy, my parasocial buddy, Dominic Burgess, is on one episode, the last episode of season 1.
I think there hasn't
miss
been
my
much. There hasn't
parasocial
been much
friends.
publicity for the show because of the strikes.
Yes.
So even when they have made public appearances as a cast for like pre-book stuff, they're not talking about the show. So there hasn't been a ton of publicity around it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how I leveled up. I really loved it, and I think that if you have not seen it, you should check it out for sure. Vanessa, Jim, it is fantastic. 10 out of 10.
I've seen a few
Absolutely
episodes
loved
of it. I think I watched the first 3 or 4 of the first season, and then it's one of those things I just never picked back up, even though I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like the first couple of episodes were not necessarily weak, but spending a lot of time setting things up. Taika Waititi shows up at the end of the second episode, and I think once he shows up, it really starts rolling. It gets interesting. It was an interesting concept that then became an interesting show, if that makes sense.
I really like what they did with his wife, because it seems kind of like a put upon unfair role that's just not going to have any depth to it. And how that resolves is so good in so many ways.
Well, they're
I really
smart
like
to
that.
revisit it, I think.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Instead of just letting that hang in the background. Anyway, fantastic show. What about you, Johnny? How did you level up?
Well, I leveled up by watching a show I worked on, so I feel like I shouldn't really review it, but I've been watching The Irrational, and it's
Ooh.
Jesse L. Martin. I knew this from the dailies, but Jesse L. Martin, really good.
Yeah.
Just really good.
You know, if I may interrupt, I watched the first several seasons of that Flash show on the CW, and it was not very good. The first season was good, but then after that it got bad. But every time
I've
Jesse
been-
L. Martin showed up, it was a delight.
Yeah, he's great.
He was fantastic.
He's also got to start on Broadway, right? He was in the Rent cast.
Yeah.
He was in Rent.
I've been
a
seeing a lot of
1,000-watt
ads for that
smile.
in front of sports games.
For Rent? That's odd.
No,
Yeah.
The Irrational. And I have to admit, I don't like procedurals, so I've been I'm not super interested in it. but it's kind of right on that line of I might watch it.
What I think is engaging about it is it's not about the usual criminal stuff. It's about just everyday psychology and how the mind works in a really, like, since it's based on a nonfiction psychology book, that's the interesting part.
Is it good science, though?
A lot of phrenology.
Is any science good, Vanessa?
Yeah, but I know what you mean, because actually, like, they talk about the criticism as pop psychology in the second episode of the show, which is really interesting.
Huh, that is interesting.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a little bit interesting, but not very much.
No, they talk about it.
Glowing review, a little bit
Talk
interesting.
about it a little bit.
Put that on the
Oh, I
poster. A
see.
little bit interesting. Johnny Brandon, Square Roots Podcast.
I also have been I played about an hour of Lies of P. That game is gorgeous. That's one of
It
the best looking
looks
games I've ever seen.
You were trying to entice me to play it by saying that the main character's shirt sticks to his chest when it's wet.
Yes, and he does have floppy hair.
Does it
Pinocchio's
actually
a little
star
boy,
Timothy
Johnny.
Chalamet, or is that just
No.
he just looks
It's
like
just
him?
Chalamet look-alike.
Yeah, it's a Chalamet lookalike for sure. He doesn't like the character doesn't say anything, and I do think it's. Although I mean, Sekiro did the same thing of being a Souls-like game with a non-customizable protagonist.
Yeah.
Does it have multiplayer?
No, but it is pretty generous. You know, in Souls games, you can like summon a not a live player, but like a specter to fight with you.
Yeah, like a big fart.
They give you lots of opportunities to do that in Lies of P. So it's not multiplayer, but you can summon people to help you in boss fights.
Oh, I also I think I talked about it before. I relaunched my YouTube channel and I put up a new video comparing and contrasting Final Fight and the works of Tom of Finland.
I watched it.
What'd you think?
I liked it a lot.
Did you like the Streets of Rage Willem Dafoe or Streets of Fire Willem Dafoe walking out of the fire?
Yes, I've never seen that movie before, and it was an image that I won't forget anytime soon.
His outfit.
So special.
Yeah, I do want to see that movie because I like the works of Jim Steinman. Maybe we should just do a blind watch commentary on it.
I think that my favorite part of your video was the old characters that were put into, I guess, new Street Fighter games, and they're like the size of a bus, like
Yes.
a legitimate bus.
Yes, for some reason.
It's pretty fun.
Because they got, yeah. Thank you. Vanessa, actually, could you sing "Johnny Loves the Theater"? Because I don't know how the words
sure.
of that go.
Johnny loves the theater loves him. Johnny loves the theater even more than he loves Jim. And there's one theater that Johnny loves the most. Sondheim, let's all raise our toast.
Of course, it wasn't Sondheim. I don't think that did the book to Sweeney Todd, right?
That's an interesting
the
way to put
songs.
it. No, Sondheim did not do the book to Sweeney Todd. Yes, he did the songs.
Wait, he did?
The book to Sweeney
Yes.
Todd.
Oh, I didn't know that was a Sondheim. I saw a Sondheim musical and didn't even know it.
Well, your first clue should have been that you loved it.
Yes. It was really good. It was a young professionals production of, like a young adult production of Sweeney Todd, done by a group, Rata, out in Redmond, the Redmond Arts Theater Academy. And it was really, really good. My nephew was in it. My nephew gets killed by Sweeney Todd.
Wow, so you hate
no,
Sweeney Todd, huh?
spoilers.
Yeah, I'm going to punch Sweeney Todd in his face.
Wow.
I got your back, bro.
I
Call
audibly...
him Weenie Todd too.
That would be hilarious.
I audibly get, because I get, one of my problems with theater, and it's not really a problem. Actually, have you ever had this where, so I get too into it. I get caught up in theater when I'm watching it. And I had actors come after a small venue show I saw once, they're like, "Thank you for being in the audience. You were obviously so enraptured with it. You made it so much easier to act." I was like, "Oh." I was like, "Thank you."
I do have that problem. When I recently saw the Merrily We Roll Along revival, Daniel Radcliffe does this patter song, which is quite difficult to do. And my heart was like pounding in my chest because I was so like concerned for him and being able to nail it. I'm like, oh no, this is really hard. It's like seeing, I don't know, like a complicated dive or something like that. I guess that's how sports fans feel when they see someone like running for the goal and stuff and you get all like worked up about it. Yeah, and then at this other show, I mean, I was just grinning like an idiot the whole time, and it was a tiny room. I'm sure some people saw me, and they laughed at me. But it was a
I was
comedy show.
grinning
I'm
the whole
supposed to
time
smile.
too. Like it was such the lady who played Mrs. Lovett was so good. What a great
Mrs.
show.
John Lovett.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. She's like,
This is John Lovett.
what's his character? The what's the fancy word for an actor? Thespian, master thespian. Yeah. Anyway, that show's over now, so you can't go see it. I
Yes,
cannot recommend
as is
it.
Mulberry, and I don't recommend anyone see that either. You can still buy the book.
Don't you think he might put on DVD or something?
I don't know. He doesn't really
VHS?
do that, and that's why I was so delighted to have him come to the United States, because he usually just performs in the UK. And I'd heard rumor on the street. They're like, you got to go see this Tim Key. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend $8,000 to go to London to see Tim Key. I'll spend $1,000 to go to New York to see him. I spent so much more on this trip than the ticket. It was absurd. But I got those deviled eggs.
That's
Vanessa-
true.
Yes, deviled eggs.
Quote unquote.
Definitely
Vanessa,
worth
quote
it.
unquote, heard a rumor, but that means she was, quote unquote, stalking the Taskmaster Reddit subreddits.
Oh, Vanessa, I got a question. Speaking of
Yeah.
mixing up my theater terms, so
Yes.
is the book the spoken part of a musical?
Correct.
Okay. So he didn't. So Sondheim, what'd you call the singy part?
The score?
Music.
Or
Okay, so he
the
wrote
lyrics.
he wrote the lyrics and
He
score.
wrote the music and lyrics.
Okay, but not. There was only like a couple of spoken lines, anyways.
I mean, I would say that the person who writes the book does a little bit more than that. They help with the
Okay.
structure of the show and how one scene flows into the other and things like that. You know, I don't want to diminish the book writers out there. They're doing a fine job, and they get their half a percentage of royalty that they earn.
Jim, how did you level up?
I also watched Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh,
Thought it was
nice.
pretty good. Yeah, thought it was pretty good. Loved that there was a lot of Raul Coley. He got featured in a couple episodes, which was fun.
Yeah,
Like
but
that guy?
I've seen a Raoul that I prefer to this Raoul Coley. I'm not talking about Raul Esparza, who everyone knows I prefer. I'm talking about other Raoul Coleys. This Raoul Coley, he was a little bit street, a little bit tatted up, you know.
A lot of tattoos. I wonder how many. I know he has like actual tattoos. I wonder how many of those were like his actual tattoos. Not his big throat one, obviously.
Yeah. And then he's like playing a lot of video games, and I'm like, if I want
Which
to
he
see
also
some...
does in real life.
Yeah, but if I want to see
was
some
in Gears of
scummy
War.
guy play video games, I'll just watch one of your guys' streams. I watch
You know,
media.
one
I want to see
time
a
he was
three-piece
like-
suit. I want to see shiny apartments.
He's like,
Beauty.
He
recommend
did
me
have a really
fo-
nice apartment.
He on Twitter he said, recommend me a place to go for dim sum in Vancouver, and I said, well, the Rainbow Butterfly out in Port Coquitlam's good. He's like, I'm not going to go to Coquitlam. He says he doesn't leave the city limits. I was very hurt.
Oh. Did you ask him
and
if he
let's
knows
see.
any magic tricks?
No, should I?
No, because every time you do, they block you.
Yeah, that's true. Do you know any close-up magic tricks? My friend would like to know.
I wouldn't like to know.
I also watched a documentary on Netflix called Big Vape. which is about Juul, the company Juul, the
see
e-cigarette
that.
manufacturer. It's about kind of how they got started, how they kind of had a pretty admirable mission in the beginning, and then wanted to be billionaires, so sold out to big tobacco really quickly.
You know what Juu'ls says: dreams last so long, even after they're gone.
I know that you smoked me, and soon I know you will see.
But
Big
they
clouds
also, they
of
also
vape.
directly go into Juul's responsibility for the youth vaping crisis, which is a real thing.
Yeah, I'm responsible for the youth vaping crisis.
Did you know that Juul got its start in basically running out of a van in Alaska?
Yeah, Juul lived in a van in Alaska, just giving out puffs of smoke on the street
Yeah,
for tip
exactly.
money.
Sorry, Jim.
Are you done riffing, guys?
Yeah.
I heard that when Juul first heard its own sound of a puff recorded, it thought it sounded like Kermit the Frog, and it cried.
Aw.
Is that a true story about the recording artist Juul?
Yeah. Apparently,
That's
when she
amazing.
first heard her song on the radio, she thought she sounded like Kermit the Frog, and she pulled over and cried.
That's really funny.
Some people spend their whole life trying to sound like Kermit the Frog.
It's true. But I will say, it's a good documentary. I think
ride
it
a
does
bike.
a good job of telling their story objectively, and even though they don't get the two Juul co-founders, in the documentary, obviously, they do interview a lot of people from the company. They interview the guy who was directly responsible for implementing their huge, disastrous advertising campaign that people look like, oh, you're obviously trying to get teenagers to smoke e-cigarettes. They interview the guy directly responsible for coming up with that campaign, which was really interesting.
Oh, interesting.
You know,
Yeah, there's a
when
lot
Jim
of-
saw Juul riding a bike, he just thought that was the most amazing piece of film.
That's when cinema peaked. Yeah. Cinema has yet to hit a high that high.
It is very interesting because we went through all this with Joe Camel, right? Like, we've done this before, and why are we doing it
and-
again?
Well, they talk about in the documentary.
Because it makes
They
people
basically-
money, Vanessa.
Yeah, well, they basically put
The amount that they
Juul
have to
ad
pay
campaign-
to the government to pay for their crimes is not nearly as much money as they made from doing it.
Yeah, they in the documentary they put side by side the old Joe Camel Marlboro tobacco ads side by side with the Juul ad campaign, that infamous Juul ad campaign, and they're conceptually they're exactly the same.
Wow.
About how they're trying to be enticing to kids.
What
It's
is the
exact same
campaign?
thing.
Describe it to us.
So Juul's campaign was basically I love creative because I work in advertising and creative some.
No, you
And
don't.
every big time creative director that you meet is so obviously full of shit. And this guy comes across as a modern day Andy Warhol, but his whole idea, and he says it in the documentary, give this to a handsome person and show them using it, and that's the whole basically idea. That was his whole creative direction.
Revolutionary.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Amazing.
Why does
so it was
that
it
equate
was
to selling
teen-
it to kids, though? I don't understand.
Because it was young, pretty, models dancing around with their Juuls, and then they basically seeded that campaign to a bunch of 18, 19-year-old influencers with super young audiences, and got them using hashtags I'm Juuling. They called it Juuling. It's just it's blatantly youth-oriented lifestyle advertising.
I think
Uh,
around
so-
Well,
2012.
yeah, they weren't trying to hit the 50-year-old smokers. They were trying to get the young smokers so they could be like, why don't you quit smoking and do Juuling instead?
Well, right, but
I
Juul's
don't
mission
see the
supposedly,
problem.
Juul's mission supposedly was to be aimed at adult smokers who are replacing their combustible cigarettes with an scientifically accurate, much less harmful e-cig. But when you market it to young people, it defeats that entire mission. It subverts the whole thing. So, so people were like, "What are you doing?" But no, it's really interesting. It shows a lot of clips from that congressional hearing where all the Congress people tore into them famously. So I would say it's really interesting. Check it out. I think it's 4 or 5 episodes on Netflix. It's good. Based on the book Big Vape. I would say check it out. If you like Silicon Valley cautionary tales, it's one of the good ones.
I do.
We all know your love of Theranos.
Can't get
Love
enough.
Elizabeth Holmes.
Matthew posted a very related meme on the Square Roots podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people that just came up on my Facebook, and it's very good. Great work, Matthew.
What's the candy bar one?
Baby's first vape.
Oh, wait. Oh, the baby's first vape thing.
Low heat for safety. Learn how to make sick clouds.
All right. We guys ready to Old World Blues?
Yeah.
I finished the chunker. I know
Me
you're
too.
all worried.
Congratulations, Johnny, and congratulations, Matt. I am equally proud of both of you.
Wow.
I found all the personalities.
For
Wow.
the gun?
Did you? I gave up. I
No, just regular.
found
Oh,
all
you
the
mean, like, for the
personalities,
sync?
but they kept the quest kept expanding to more and more shit to find, and I gave up.
Yeah.
I did a bunch.
I didn't get all the
No, I gave
side
up.
stuff. Like all the upgrades. So
Also, I didn't give a
this
shit.
is basically DLC about finding upgraded light switches.
It's in the quest log, Johnny. Wait for it.
You can give this thing the ability to eat coffee mugs, and it'll give you Wonder Glue. And if you
Wait
like that,
for
I've
it
got
in the
good news
quest
for
log.
you.
My goodness, you're jumping so far ahead.
Where would I ever find Wonder Glue, Matthew?
Yeah, what would I want with it? That's the real
Right.
question.
So set this
Fucking
up for
cares?
us, Vanessa. What are we
I would
doing?
love to set this up. We get a mysterious transmission over our Pip-Boy. Oh, we've just gotten back from Sierra Madre, and what do you know? It's another mysterious transmission. This leads us to an old drive-through where we find a crashed satellite.
They drive in.
It's
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you're
projecting
right. Drive it in.
a
drive-in
giant
theater.
eyeball on a screen.
It's blinking
and
at
there's
us
a
and looking
down
at us.
satellite.
So we poke the satellite with a stick, right? And suddenly we are,
Yeah.
poking
No.
with a stick, and we're teleported far away.
I mean, the game
Or
stops
maybe
you
not
and it's
far
like,
away.
"Are you sure you want to start this DLC?"
Yeah, are you sure you want to be teleported? You won't be able to come back after you've been teleported. And we all were sure, and we're whisked away. And we come to on the balcony overlooking a mysterious crater, and we're a little bit different. Things have changed just a little bit. We have some fun new scars all over our body, and we appear to be missing our brain, spine, and heart. However,
And this whole quest to start it was called a midnight double feature picture show on RKO.
it's very camp, very throwback, very 1960s sci-fi.
I don't get it. What's that a reference to? Something old that old people know?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
a young
something old for
20-something.
old
I've never
people.
heard of this.
No, you haven't.
Have you heard of Tim Curry?
I've heard of Tim Curry, my favorite actor.
Have you heard of Richard O'Brien from the original Dungeons and Dragons movie and The Crystal Maze?
No.
Nobody's heard of Crystal Maze.
Okay.
Yeah, what's the Crystal Maze?
It's a game show. I mean, I haven't heard of it.
Is that on? Was that on Nickelodeon? Is that a Nickelodeon game show?
No, but I think Nickelodeon
Like
did
Legends of the Hidden Temple.
yeah, it's a lot like Legends of the Hidden Temple. I was going to say. I
Almost
think one of them
exactly.
was inspired by the other. I think the English one came first.
Yeah.
Doesn't it always? That's why I've been watching this show, Do Things Man. You know, on
I love Do Things, man.
So,
Vanessa, you
although we
have to
don't
check
have
out Do Things Man. It's going to be your favorite show.
Joel McHale is the Do Things man, and then he's got his hot
watch
assistant, Christy Brinkley. I don't know. Okay, who's Christy Brinkley of to the 2020s?
Who's Thomas Middleditch is his Do Things Man.
Thomas
This is-
Middleditch is not the Christy Brinkley of the 2020s.
No, but he definitely is the fucking Alex Turner or whatever that man's name is.
Horn.
Alex Horn of American television.
Ask Vanessa. She's like an Alex Horn thirst poster now.
Well, I was thinking,
I am
but
not
I was thinking
an Alex Horn thirst poster.
the bad
I mean,
rip-off
do you
American
consider-
version
Do you consider
would have Joel McHale and a really hot girl as the Alex Horn
Oh,
character.
yeah.
You're right,
That's
and
what
they
I
would be
mean.
really mean to her.
It would
and
be like
super
Olivia
Munn.
uncomfortable. Yes, nailed it, Olivia Munn. And instead,
I feel
of,
like you would probably get JB Smoove in there too.
instead of it being
Yeah.
like a
Smooth would be
sweet,
in there somewhere.
almost love story, it would just be like a creepy, abusive relationship.
It'd be like
Yeah.
the Man Show, basically.
And he'd always be coming
Would there
on to
be
her
girls
and
on
she'd be like,
trampolines?
I mean,
Yeah, probably.
20-year-old Matthew
Put that
loved
shit
girls
on
on
the air.
trampolines.
Well, 25-year-old Matthew has the internet, so you don't need that anymore. Not on terrestrial television.
See, you can have AI just make that for you now.
Yeah. Does Spike TV even air anymore?
No, it turned into.
No, there's no Spike
I think
TV.
it turned into the MGM network, and then it turned into the Paramount network. Shit
Oh,
got
wow.
weird.
Never even posted about Alex Horn.
Aw.
I mean, define
Anyway.
posting because you post it in the group chat every fucking day of the week.
That's my personal private thoughts and feelings, and I am allowed to share that in the group chat.
But then Jim won't edit it out when we talk about it on the show.
I posted nothing in the group chat. The last thing I posted relating to Taskmaster was my very nice Christmas crackers that
You
I got
posted
for Christmas
straight
time.
nudity of Alex Horn in the group chat.
Did
And
I?
by straight nudity, I mean his feet.
Oh.
Oh.
Next time I edit, I'm cutting everything. Every time you guys say something funny, I'm cutting it out.
So
It's gonna be the worst episode.
nothing from the whole episode? Is that what you're saying? You'll have nothing to cut.
Aw.
So you're gonna
Why don't
so you're saying it's uncut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, natural.
All right, you did it
I
to yourself,
don't
Johnny.
remember the context for
Yeah, you're
posting
right.
those feet, but I'm sure I had a good reason. Anyway, moving on. We are missing our heart.
No, I'm not gonna. We're not done. My favorite thing in the group chat is when Vanessa finds anything even fucking remotely related to Taskmaster, and it's like, Matt, you'll like this. No, I
She does do that a lot.
I won't.
Whenever she says that, that's a clear signal for me. It's okay to put your phone down for a while.
I did post pictures of virtual Vanessa's feet once because she was like hanging out, and I realized her model the outfit she had didn't have shoes on. So
Right.
in Fallout 76, which I've really been wanting to play again. I know Matthew wants to play it, but he wants to play it with Paul, and there's no crossplay.
Yeah,
So
fuck
we
off.
wouldn't
I'm
be
not
able
playing it on the
believe there's no
PlayStation. Too
crossplay.
bad. That's what you get.
I guess we could start over and have
Yeah,
two
we could start
accounts
over.
and
Yeah,
be
I'm
like
fine with that.
a special foursome gang.
Yeah,
Maybe Jim could play too. We're not limited to 4 people in
yeah,
a
it's
Fallout
true.
squad.
It's true. I'd play it.
Fun.
Anyway,
So we're missing our brain, our spine, and our heart, but it's fine. We seem to be functioning just great without them. We feel a little bit heavier than before because we have beep boop robot bits in us.
What? Vanessa 3 is not a robot, and I refuse.
She's
it plays a kazoo.
robot.
I wish it played a kazoo sound every time you walked.
That would be pretty.
But you get great stat boosts.
Yeah,
from
you
these
get
parts.
stat boosts. Like robots are confused by you, and so they don't do as much damage to you because they think you're one of them.
Does that include Robo Scorpions? Because they kill me a lot.
Yeah,
Those
it
things
does
are the
include them.
tankiest little robots.
Everything in this fucking chunker is the tankiest thing that's ever happened.
I did go back and put the giant Robo Scorpion code into my gun, but that's way far ahead.
So we wander inside. There's sort of this big, empty apartment space. And then we enter a door to something called the think tank. In this room, there's a collection of, I guess you'd call them scientists, but
yeah.
I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that they are all flying brains in jars.
And their
Right.
bodies are just a conglomeration of computer monitors.
Yeah, they have like 2 for the eyes and 1 for the mouth.
Yeah. It's delightful. Talk about
It's
the
pretty
things
cool.
that they say to you, because it's insane and I loved it.
Well, at first they refuse to speak to you at all.
They call you
They
a
keep referring-
lobotomite.
Yeah, they keep
Well,
referring
yeah,
to you as
they
a
think you're-
lobotomite.
Some savage that has wandered into their facility.
They make references to the tiny penises sticking off of your feet, and also the penises on your hands. And,
Fleshy, revolting hand penises. 10 of them.
Yep. One of my favorite things to do is you can start to try to communicate with them, even though they don't appear to be able to understand what you're saying. You can hold up, 1 and point at yourself, and then 5 and point at them. And if you do this, then Dr. Klein will complain that you have erected your hand penises and that they should vivisect them if you attempt insertion. But if
This
you
is
get
the filthiest piece of DLC we've ever played.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't.
I loved
think-
it.
Yeah, I don't think even in this game there's been a lot of reference to a penis before. Certainly not 5 little hand penises on the end of your stumpy palm. What would be the equivalent to circumcision to a hand penis?
Trimming
I
your
guess.
nails.
Yeah. If you have like a nice long
Trimming your
manicure,
nails? No.
a manicure.
That's basic grooming.
Some people don't, and then they get in the Guinness Book of World Records. Don't you want to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest hand penis, Jim? He
Right, Jim? Don't you wanna?
Admit it.
So you sort of start getting a sense as these 5 doctors bicker together. See, unlike this does have about a 10-minute monologue-y section, but unlike the beginning of Dead Money, it's 5 characters talking. So I found this delightful rather than, oh my God, won't Father Elijah shut up, from the beginning of Dead Money, which I still like Dead Money a lot. But I found this delightful, I think this is my favorite writing in the game. I know Vanessa said, well, this is a lot sillier, but I like a silly. Vanessa,
Yeah.
silly
Vanessa
is
and
for
I-
me.
Vanessa and I talked about this in the group chat. I think, in my mind, Dead Money was kind of like a BioShock pastiche. This one is like a Portal pastiche.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're totally right. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. It's very there's a lot of wacky, voiceover stuff happening throughout your exploration of the big empty. They're basically just telling jokes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. It's very Portal-y.
So you get the sense, even from what I like, is so quickly they establish the different voices. I mean, they're all different actors, which helps. There is Dr. Klein, who is accidentally programmed to yell.
Yeah, he's
I
in
could have
caps lock.
I could have sworn that Dr. Klein, he's the main one, right, that talks about the finger penises?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you would have put a gun to my head and asked me who voiced this character,
I was
would have
going
said
to.
Chris
Jim,
Parnell.
I'm putting a gun to your head.
Oh my God, Matthew, put
and
that
I was
away.
saying Chris Parnell. I thought this was Chris
Yeah, it
Parnell
does.
the whole time.
It sounds
Yeah,
like
it's
Chris
definitely got a
Parnell.
Dr. Spaceman vibe to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, I think Boros reminded me more of Dr. Spaceman than Klein.
Yeah, I think the kid, but like the voice,
Yeah, that's true.
not necessarily character. Like that voice is very distinct to me.
When did this
So
come
there's
out?
Dr. This came out, I think, like either the end of 2010 or mid 2011.
I thought it was 2011. Yeah.
Yeah, it took a while for these DLCs to come out.
When did 30 Rock run?
Oh, this was during the run of 30 Rock for
So
sure.
it ripped off 30 Rock.
I guess a
When
little.
was Portal released?
2007.
And when was
Everything was
Bioshock
coming
released?
together.
2007.
We're
Actually, I
on
think
to you,
also
Oblivion, or
30
Obsidian.
Rock came out in 2007. Good year for things.
Good year for things.
Good year
Except for
stuff.
presidency.
2007 was not good for presidency? You're an anti-Obama
really.
guy. Gotcha.
He didn't
Obama
get
was elected in
elected.
2008, dog.
Yeah, the end of 2008 and became president in 2009.
Yeah, Matt just accidentally defended W.
He loves G-Dub. Fellow Texan.
I mean,
Downtown Brown,
I
that
would
Matt.
have a beer with George W. Bush.
He
Isn't
could
that what
land
matters?
Yeah.
a jet.
You know, shouldn't
on
we
the aircraft
elect
character,
people that we think
carrier-
are stupider
carrier?
than
It's
us so we
funny
don't
because
feel
he used
stupid?
you would think like that used to be the thing, right? But who would have a beer with Donald Trump? That guy's a fucking piece of shit.
He doesn't even drink anyway.
I'll have
Yeah.
a beer and you'll have a Diet Coke and talk about how much money you have. Ugh.
Which he doesn't
And
even.
lie about it.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
house is the biggest house in the whole world. It's larger than the fucking palace at
It's
Versailles.
it's worth $1.5 billion.
So there's also
Well,
O,
$1 billion of that is the fact that he lives there.
Johnny's
Yeah.
correct. There's also O.
who is very neurotic, but seems like maybe the most with it person.
Yeah.
Like, he seems aware of what's happening more than the rest of them.
Yeah. There is Dr. Dalla.
Oh, she's
and-
delightful.
She is great.
She's delightful. She thinks that we are adorable. She's
Calls us
super
teddy
into
bear
us.
A lot. It's great.
Yeah, a little teddy bear. Her
I
room
was-
is full of teddy
I have
bears
to
too.
admit, just a woman talking to me nice like that was enough for him to be like, "Marry me."
Did you go to her house and find all the teddy
does
bears?
this character actually like me? I should probably tip her a lot. then she'll remember me.
I had a conversation about that
and-
exact phenomenon last night with my daughter.
What?
That's funny.
We drove by a wing house, and I was like, "Let me talk to you about wing house."
Oh, I see. I guess a kid has to learn about Wing House someday.
She's 14.
Every parent has a wing house talk with their children.
Fisherman's friend.
I don't know if this is true around the country, but for my local area, which is where Hooters started, Hooters got basically run out of town by Wing House, which is the same as Hooters, but
A
admittedly
little lower rent.
with better fucking food. That's the real difference.
Yeah.
Because Hooters has that butter sauce on everything. It's gross. Anyway, yeah, that's where the conversation went. I was like, well, yeah, Wing House, used to be Hooters. Not Hooters anymore. Nobody likes Hooters. Same concept. Women in low-cut tops convince men to give them large tips. Who's at fault here? Morons.
Capitalism.
Did this conversation start when she's like, "Daddy, why are you at Wing House so much?"
Well,
He goes to Wings, etc. Thank you.
Well, I would say I should cut this, but the truth is that we drove by Wing House, and she's like, "Oh, like Wings, etc." Right? And I was like, "No, hang on, no. Wings, etc. is just a fucking nice little sports bar that has good food. Wing House is a whorehouse."
Wings, Etcetera is a restaurant. Wing House is a restaurant.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say a whorehouse. It's more like a host club or hostess club from
True.
Japan.
Yeah.
I
That's
really-
a good
I don't
analogy.
think it's the
Yeah,
same,
it's a good point.
To be honest with you, I think that
You don't buy them
Winghouse-
drinks. And
I mean,
stuff.
listen, the women at those places definitely play up the like, oh, he, whatever. But like, that's the job, and it's the men's fault that they're like, I'm in love with you.
I went to a Hooters once in my life for a friend's birthday, and I went to use the restroom, and the restroom for women was also just the locker room for the women who work there. And I was like, wow, there must be so few women going here as customers that they're like, just put the staff lockers in there. Who cares?
And you walk in, they try to hand you short shorts and a tank top. You're like, no,
Yeah.
wait, no.
And yeah, that's how they get you. And then you're serving up hot wings and
But really,
patting people on the back.
Hooters, on top of being a gross concept, also had terrible food.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's garbage.
Don't remember
went-
the food at all.
Well, they've
'cause
got their
here in-
hot sauces are butter based, so everything is covered in butter. That might
Ew.
sound good, but it's like
No.
you don't want a wing that's covered in butter.
No,
Whereas
you
Winghouse
want
do
it
they
to
just
have-
be
has
do they-
nice.
wings with sauce on them. It's good.
Do they have Twin Peaks in Florida?
I've heard of that show.
In Texas, there is a chain of restaurants called Twin Peaks,
Oh, no.
which is obvious, which is a boob reference, and it's a sports bar that is pretty much exactly the same as Hooters. Only the restaurants are designed to look kind of like log cabins, like like you're on a mountain, but the peaks are actually women's boobs.
get it.
And like 3 out of 3 nights of the week are like lingerie night, where all the waitresses are just wearing lingerie.
Oh,
my
I want
God.
to go to there, actually.
So
like
you
a
guys
good
go
restaurant.
there, and Johnny and I will go to Nads.
I went to Hooters with my brother right after I moved to Denver. And just because we thought it would be funny. They didn't have anything like that in Canada at the time. And it the lady was super funny. She knew she pegged me as gay immediately, and that was really fun. Like, she was just like chatty and funny. Like, it wasn't creepy at all. And so then years later, I went with my boyfriend to apparently there's one in Ottawa for some reason. So we went there, and it was just everyone felt bad about the experience.
Yeah.
Like, it was empty. It was just one server. We were the only people there. It was just creepy and weird, and none of us wanted to be there. It was very obvious. The food was terrible. Like, that first experience was fun and positive, and then the second one was just, I think, what going to Hooters is actually like.
It's funny, like, as I said, I guess I have to own it. Like, I live in the home of Hooters. Like, it started.
Yeah.
The original Hooters is still there, right? But there were a dozen around here, and they just all slowly shut down because I guess, I don't know, people just prefer Winghouse, which doesn't have a boob joke in its name. It just is the same concept. Honestly, if you want to go to a sports bar, there's not always a ton of options, you know? Like, sometimes I just want to go to a bar where I can watch 14 games at once, and if that's what you want to do, your options are fucking Hooters or Winghouse.
And you're always reading those articles in Playboy and not looking at the pictures.
The great stereo ads in there.
All right, so let's talk about Dr. Dalla. She is really into your fleshy body. She's talking about what a delightful teddy bear you are. She is very sensual, and she does. At one point, she talks about, and I'm going to hit you with. Let me just try this wave out on you. It would go my woo wave, and then she just goes. Woo, woo. You might do it better, Vanessa. You try doing a woo wave.
Well, you've missed the mark on this, which is that which one is it? Which one's the one that can't talk?
8.
8 offers you what's the gun called? The laser gun?
Sonic Emitter?
and he like, remember? He
Yes,
has a
he-
sonic emitter and he like splooges on it.
He doesn't splooge on it. He ejaculates.
Sonjaculate. He
sonjaculates onto it with
and
Sonic.
then Dala cleans it by woo-wooing on it for you.
Right, that's right.
Oh. Yeah, what was that all about?
Science. Eight can't speak English because his voice transponder is damaged. And then there's Boros, who is a familiar Fallout archetype. He hates communism and loves America.
And hates high school.
Everyone hates high school.
I know, and that was a big part of my whole deal for a long time, but this kind of made me feel bad about it.
When I got out of high school 2 years ago, I can't tell you how relieved I was.
I can't wait until I'm out. I hope it's soon.
Oh, Teen Matthew. I wrote in my agenda, I counted down the numbers every day in the last year of high school to graduation, and it was so amazing to watch those numbers go down. That was the only thing that brightened my day.
Oh, poor Johnny.
Johnny, if we met in high school, we would be best friends.
Yay!
I mean, I would have used the term gay a lot and probably in a way that made you unhappy, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's okay.
And I would have... I don't know. I feel like I was exactly the same. I have not matured at all, friends.
Well, it's only been 2 years.
It's only been 2 years.
Yeah. All right. So what do they want us to do now that they have a lobotomite in their presence?
Yeah, now that we are in their presence, they want us to help them defeat the evil Dr. Morbius.
Ooh.
Dr. Morbius sends to transmit threats about taking over the world with his evil scorpion army. And in order to reach him, we're told we'll need 3 things: a coil, a stealth suit, and some data.
I love the stealth suit.
They also tell us that
love the stealth suit. Combat
stealth
initiated.
suit loves you.
Just
I
kidding.
broke my stealth suit. How do I fix my stealth
paid
suit?
15,000 bottle caps to fix my stealth suit because I love it so fucking much. Best line in
we're
this whole
also-
chunker is that the stealth... Okay, so the stealth suit...
We'll get to the
We'll
stealth
get
suit.
to that, right?
Don't
All
worry
right.
about
Yeah,
it.
I'm backing off.
Don't you worry about it. We're also given the sink, which is the name of the apartment, as a gift for us to live in. We get the sonic emitter that has been sonjaculated on, and we get a canine gun. It looks like a little dog, and it makes little doggy noises.
It does. When you put it away,
It's
it's
got
like...
little ears.
I hate that gun.
I did
It was a piece of shit.
I upgraded that gun to Fido.
Is it
but
good
the problem
when
is-
you upgrade it? I sold it after this
You
chunker.
need high strength. It's one of those guns like the automatic rifle. You need over 8 strength to use, I think. So it wasn't super useful.
It's also what they call a holdout weapon in this game, which is like at certain points you're forced to give up all your weapons. That's one of the ones you can actually keep in your inventory.
What?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's so
Whoa.
big.
But you have to have high enough sneak. If your sneak stat is high enough, you can keep it in your inventory.
Huh.
That's
neat.
crazy.
Yeah.
Where do you think he puts it?
So you'll notice it does way more damage if you use like a buff out and some whiskey, as Vanessa 2 does.
Interesting.
She's been mixing a lot, and I know you shouldn't do it, but
she's getting turned.
Some of our
Yeah,
listeners that I've spoken with have talked about their playthroughs, and they sound like way more interesting than mine. Like somebody mentioned that they were doing a drunk playthrough where they just drink every bottle of alcohol they find, and that sounds amazing. Somebody else mentioned that they're doing a cannibal playthrough where they eat everybody that they kill.
That's great.
Which there are some like
I
weird,
do have-
sneaky chivos that you can get if you eat your way through the fucking wasteland, which is pretty clever. And some
I got a
weird
perk that
perks.
turns everybody into blood sausage or thin red sauce. thin red goop or whatever it's called.
Yucky.
Yeah, that stuff's actually pretty good. It does like 30. Restores like
amazing.
30 health for like 10 seconds. It's a lot.
You ate it?
Yeah.
I did, and I didn't realize
got a
that
whole
it was
perk.
supposed to be like blood, I guess. I just thought it was stuff I found.
Oh, Vanessa
Oh.
2's open to trying new food.
Well,
Maybe you should
so
learn
is
a lot from Vanessa
1,
2.
But, I mean, I tried those crab stuffed deviled eggs I told you about.
So why is it called...
Okay, Vanessa.
So
let's
this
all
place is
calm
called the
down.
Big
They're deviled eggs.
Empty?
They're stuffed with crab.
Because-
Any human on Earth would eat those. I don't even like crab, and I would eat them.
So
John,
why is
they
it
call it big? They call it Big MT because they're a big mountain. So
Yes.
the actual area is Big
They
Mountain.
never say big MT, right? They always
Big
say
Well,
big mountain.
They say They say Big Empty.
no, they say big
and
mountain.
Big Mountain.
They always
They do say Big
mountain.
Empty too.
The
Well, yeah,
voiceover
they refer
says
to it
big
as the MT.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the scientists are offended by the name Big Empty.
Yeah.
The signs
Uh,
also say the Big MT when to leave. Like if you notice the signs to go to the... Why is it called the
Also-
sink, though? Is there a joke in there?
I don't know.
I don't know that one either. I will say, to tie this even further into Portal, this whole area is littered with different testing facilities for different things.
That's true.
Which we'll get into. And this was actually my first detour when I was sent out of the, what's this initial, the think tank. I was out exploring and I just went to this first facility, which was the school. The school test where
Yeah, that's where I
you
went to
have
first.
I think it's
to you have to
X8 is the school. I could be wrong.
yeah X8
Yeah, I think you're right.
and you have to make the whole test is navigating your way through a high school to collect certain kids' school records from different computers. And then this
I ended
is-
up having to
is
do
a-
this so many times.
Yeah, it makes you do it
Me too.
so
This is
fucking many times.
This is a Dr. Boros one too, where Boros is on the speaker saying he's a principal.
And he has a lot of bitterness about high school.
Can I just
I
say...
like at one point, one of the kids' names is Richie, like you're trying to get Richie's transcripts or whatever, and he makes fun of Richie. He's like, Richie's a jock. He likes balls. You love balls, don't you, Richie?
Great joke.
That's funny.
One of the things that they tell you early on when they give you the brains give you the quests is that they're like, but hurry, do it fast, and the faster you do it, the better your reward will be. What happens if you do it fast?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Because I told them I wasn't going to. I said I was going to explore and take my time. And they got very upset about that.
Oh, I lied to them. I was like, yeah, no, I'll do it fast.
I thought I did it pretty fast, but I didn't feel like I got a real reward.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, the end is not...
It's kind of anticlimactic, this DLC.
Well, we'll talk about it.
So we can start with the X2 coil, which is just like a little antenna on top of an antenna array. The only downside about this stupid coil is it weighs like 20 pounds or something.
Yeah, it's really heavy.
It's too heavy. We're busy
You can
here.
use it as a weapon for bonking.
Yeah, but like I got that axe from this one guy who was hidden in the cuckoo's nest, and that was way better if I wanted to do bonking. It's like
Oh, yeah, they have really neat melee weapons here. They have like these plasma axe hatchet
Yeah.
things. I like the proton axe or whatever.
yeah, I got like the super one that's in this one area full of lobotomites.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Some of the enemies we run into are the lobotomites, who are, I think, people who've wandered into Big Empty and been lobotomized. There's also skeletons inside.
Oh, that was like
suits.
that Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, they're very tough, and these are related to the ghosts that we ran into in the Sierra Madre. You can find some
Yes.
dialogue hidden around that talks about how these suits basically just keep whatever's inside going no matter what. So the people who were inside them when the bombs fell got stuck inside them forever, basically, because they died, but the suit just kept going.
Yeah.
I
This
felt
was
like
creepy. I think they're a really good creepy enemy.
I felt like the enemies in this area in this DLC were scaled because I was high 20s when I came in here and mid 30s when I left, and I felt like every enemy was super tanky, and that really frustrated me. Like, I don't need that. Like, I've done all this work and I've leveled this character up, and I really liked the ability to, blow through a bunch of enemies. I can headshot people and they die, and it's great. And then I came to this, and everything from the fucking dogs to the Night Stalkers to the lobotomites to the fucking suit corpses to the robots felt so fucking tanky. I went through hundreds of rounds of ammunition. I had 50 stim packs and 30 super stim packs, and I left this DLC with 3 stim packs and 15 super stim packs.
That stealth suit uses too many stim packs. It's like, no, I got all this food and other stuff. Stop using all my stim packs.
Well, I'm not the same. I don't bother with the food. I only do stim packs. But I had a shitload when I left Sierra Madre. I had an absurd amount of stim packs and ammo. Thousands of fucking bullets. Thousands of pieces of ammo. Dozens of stim packs. And I left this DLC with almost nothing. And honestly, it pissed me off. Like, what the fuck? I did all this work. I built all this stuff up. And then I went into this DLC and everything. The Night Stalkers were so fucking tanky that I was getting killed constantly.
See,
I guess it's a good thing we did the Sierra Madre first, because you had all the bullets from the vault there.
I did. So with the Night Stalkers, I lucked out that I had the animal friendship perk. So they just helped me out. They just come in anytime things were attacking me.
I mean, that's
and their Night Stalkers are out, they would just swarm.
Do the cyber dogs do that too? If you have
No,
the perk,
I wish they did. It's a really good perk, though.
Interesting.
There is so many little Wild Wasteland appearances, because aren't that many in the main game, but I think there's like 5 or 6 that happened to me in this one.
What were they?
There was one, the one where there was a kid on the floor and it gave me the Wild Wasteland thing, and I didn't get the reference. Did you get that in the high school, Vanessa?
I didn't have the Wild Wasteland perk.
Oh.
What did it say? I had the Wild Wasteland. I didn't notice anything in this school.
Oh, I'll talk about it. And actually, no, I think it was this. Yeah, it was this chunk in the school. But let's finish the coil first, because it's so short. Yeah, the coil is just going up to the top of the coil, or this big satellite array, grabbing the coil. The doctor insults you and then unleashes its robo-scorpions on you.
Yeah, we hear Morbius's voice. We hear his voice as we're sort of wandering around, too, talking about how he's going to take over the world and everything. And once you get the coil, he unleashes the Scorpos. They are tough.
With their pincers.
Yeah. I'd suggest shooting them in the tail using VATS if you have the option.
And that sonic emitter gun you get from 8 does help. It'll disable if you hit them. If he does a critical, it'll usually disable robots for like 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which helps too.
Yep.
That was my primary weapon in this. There's a ton of robots. You fight the,
but all of them give you like 40
stuff,
energy capsules or whatever too, so you
I
never
had
run
a
out
ton
of
of those. And also, when you kill those scorpions, they drop energy capsules, whatever they're called.
Oh, like the energy cells.
Yeah.
There's John in the according to the wiki, the Wild West perk in the X8 Research Center populates dogs playing poker. So
Yeah, I was
at
going to
one
say,
point
we
you
haven't
can go-
got
there's-
to there yet. I was
Oh,
gonna talk about
sorry,
the
sorry.
dogs playing poker. Because that is my favorite one.
There's
Yeah.
one other one too that I caught.
There's a Gremlins one as well.
Is there?
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
So once we're down from the tower, we can head over to the high school, aforementioned.
X8.
And here we get some messages from Dr. Boros, who does say, I'm the principal, and your job is to root out communism in high school.
This felt the most familiar joke-wise. I feel like Dr. Burrows could have used a second pass to be a bit funnier.
Yeah. Dr. Boros is mad about the girl who turned him down in high school. He's mad about the jocks.
Yeah. I thought that was like the least funny part of it, where he's trying to relate to his high school experience. I thought it was funny when I would imagine him like making fun of kids to their faces. I thought that was funny, but the rest of it was kind of just like, all right, this is long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to do it 6 times, so.
Yeah.
Or 4 times, I think.
Yeah. So we go through the high school. We have to find 3 different terminals. There's some turrets and robots around for us to fight. And we get the data. At that point,
100 times.
100 times.
Well, and then the second time you do it, you get the force field removal aspect, enhancement of the sonic emitter.
Yeah.
That now it can disable force fields, which becomes very. I mean, this is all optional. You don't have to do any of this. But this will make the fight against the giant Roboscorpion way easier.
Very much easier, yep. And you can do it, I think, a couple more times with some night stalkers in there. And
Get that animal friendship perk.
I got
It's
all
real
the way
good.
up to the last. I got all the way up to the last run, and was so low on stim packs and ammo, and my assassin suit. What's it called that you get? Stealth suit that you get here was broken. That I just
Yeah.
And then
couldn't
I
use it
looked it
anymore.
up. I looked up a guide to see what the reward was, and was just like, I don't fucking care. I shouldn't have done it up to this point. Like, I wasted my time.
I don't remember what the reward was.
me
think
neither.
it's a
So it
smooch
can't
from
have
your
been
mom.
very good.
Aw.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Mrs. Banks.
No, Vanessa's mom.
Oh.
How dare you?
Well, was that wasn't the
my
Fido
favorite
upgrade? Was it? No, I don't think it was the Fido upgrade.
No, that's the one in the other research center, right?
Right. So after you've done your first 2 passes of the high school, it then unlocks the Guard Dog Residential Center, training center, which is just a big suburban house, and there's the biggest guard dog I've ever seen.
So
it is
BV.
enormous, named
Gabe.
Yeah.
And you have to kill Gabe, and
You don't.
Gabe sure
Holy
explodes. You don't?
shit, you killed Gabe?
If there's a dog in a Fallout game, Johnny will
Oh, no.
find a way to kill it.
John,
How do you not
I know
kill
that you're
Gabe?
a cat person, but what the fuck?
How do you not kill Gabe?
I don't know, I killed Gabe.
Yeah,
I
I
killed
killed him too.
Gabe too.
Okay. What I like, Gabe explodes so hard too.
Yeah, I ran out of there before Gabe exploded. You don't have to kill Gabe because you just need to find
The bark.
the thing that he's buried, right? So you
The
can
sonic
walk around.
emitter, his
Yeah,
sonic emitter
Yeah.
bark thing.
Yep.
Which I found right away,
So,
and I could have left.
can we
So I
just take
guess
a moment?
I did just kill the dog.
You just killed him for fun?
Yeah.
I mean, I did. So, you have this sonic emitter, right? And you find files that change the sonic emitter's, I don't know, frequency. The first one is opera singer. The second one is Gabe's bark. The last one is
There's 3 other ones, I
Scorpion's
think.
scream, I think. But they
There's
all do
also a
different things.
testing center, which was maybe my favorite joke in this whole DLC?
Which
did
was?
anyone, the testing center in X8? It's just like another building where you splice two creatures together, and you can splice a robot and a human, and he's like, "Oh, I can see again. I can think. This is wonderful." Then he just explodes. I felt so bad.
That thing dies on its own. You don't kill that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you did, Johnny.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I tried it again, and the next one died too.
You did it again, knowing it would
Well,
die?
you know, I didn't know.
Monster.
That is a great joke. You splice a human and a robot and a lobotomite together, and you get this little R2-D2 looking thing, and it like rolls around the testing floor and is like, "I'm alive." It's like Johnny Five. It's fucking hilarious. I feel so free. What will I do with my life? What can I do next? And then it just explodes.
I did unlock another splicing to make cyber dogs, but I didn't mess around with that.
I did.
I thought of a really funny joke
all
that we
three.
probably wanted Downtown Brown. We were like talking about people doing like cannibal runs and stuff. I was thinking about John killing every dog he comes across. I was like, oh, John's doing a local police department run.
I'm not going to cut that. Because it's a true and correct assessment of how often local police in the United States of America murder people's dogs.
For no
For
reason.
no fucking reason. Because all cops are bastards. Anyway,
Scorpions.
I did do the 3. I think there's only the 3. You can mesh a human and a robot, a dog and a robot, and then if you do a human and a dog, it just explodes. I kind of hoped that you would make like a werewolf, but no, it just fucking explodes.
Yeah, that was great. I think I got an achievement for that.
Chivo.
Yeah, hot Chivo. And then finally, there's the infiltrator facility, X12, I think.
This is where you get the stealth suit, right? Or no?
Yeah,
This was fun.
this is
Yeah.
where you get. Oh, but Jim,
I didn't do
what
any
were
of the tests here.
What were the other wild wastelands in the high school?
Oh, there was one other one. It in the testing area on the wall, it says Wolverines, which is a reference. It's a Red Dawn reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was okay. So that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the dogs playing poker when you're walking around.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was just like you go past that dog room where the dogs are being trained, and there's just a group of them like with beers and cards playing poker.
Oh, I
like
didn't
a-
get to see that.
There was like a TV on in the background. And it was like teaching them how to be good boys.
Yeah, it showed a like a vault person rubbing the belly of a
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, I saw that, but I just saw dogs looking at the screen. They weren't playing poker.
Oh yeah, they were playing poker. It was pretty funny.
So
it's
the-
a stealth suit.
Yay! She's so nice.
A talking stealth suit. Yeah.
It's amazing. It'll automatically use stim packs and medics for you. But also it talks to
Now-
you. And I legitimately, this is the best thing that I've seen in this game so far. The whole game. Not just the DLC. The
Yeah.
stealth suit talks to you. And it'll occasionally just fuck with you. Like, it'll just be like combat. So, the stealth suit, it just tells you what's going on around you to an extent. Like, if there's an enemy that sees you, it'll tell you, which is great. It'll say, like, combat initiated. And that's amazing because the gunplay, gameplay part of this game is really bad. So, it's frustrating. But this thing really like ramps it up where it'll tell you what's going on. In fact, I thought it was brilliant. Like, I would love for every game to have this. Just a person telling you you're being shot at. I really liked it. But occasionally
Hit
it'll
boy
just
lights
fuck with
on.
you and be like, combat initiated.
I didn't know that made a difference.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Or like I like it when she's like, "This one looks pretty tough," and then you kill it, and she goes, "Never mind."
Or where she's like, "Do you like me?"
Yes.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you like me? You're my best friend. I love you. I mean, I guess maybe I'm just this sad of a human being, but like, I really fucking
Aw.
appreciated this. I really fucking like this stealth suit. In fact, I wore it out to the point that it was down to 0 condition.
Same here.
And I went and
That did not
spent
take me very long.
1,500 caps to
Thousand.
refurbish it. I was like, no.
15,000
Wow.
counts.
You're right. I'm sorry. 15,000
Dang.
caps to refurbish it because I was like, I can't give this. I was at the end of the chunker and I was like, I refuse to give this up. I want this.
I got a perk that lets you sort of jury rig things together, and I can repair the stealth suit with combat armor, which is a little bit more common.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I've hit,
Okay.
I think I'm around level 35. So I've maxed out every gun type, stealth, lockpicking, science, medicine. They're all at 100. And now I've just, every time I level up, I just sink all 18 points or whatever into repair. So suddenly I'm getting way better at it, which is nice.
Yeah. Repair is very useful.
Pretty handy.
Yeah, figure a couple more levels and I'll be able to just do this shit myself.
So in the infiltrator suit, you find the parts of the stealth suit and then put it on, and it becomes that sentient suit. And then you get a chance to do a basic infiltration test.
I
Yeah.
love this. You can
I did all
find
of
a you can find a file on a computer somewhere that tells you that so I don't know if it gives you this option either way, but I assume not. Where if you find it ahead of time, it tells you. I mean, obviously there are tripwires, there are laser tripwires, and you can disarm them. But if you find this file, it'll tell you that you can rewrite the tripwires. And then after that, from then on, every time you redo this test, which it makes you do a few times, they're always rewired. So you just can always pass through them.
Yeah, that's great. And there is the final version of that task, and each time you do it, it upgrades another stealth suit ability, which is useful.
Oh, yeah. It's
And-
like +1 agility,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
John, I find it weird that John just said the word task and Vanessa's eyes didn't automatically dart up from the phone she is so obviously staring
It's not
at.
a phone, Jim. It's Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Phone or
She's
switch.
fighting with Minnie.
Phone or switch.
yeah, we should
Phone
play
or
phone. Or
switch.
it was fun. Now that's a good Taskmaster task.
That's a great Taskmaster task.
It would be a
That's
stage
a terrible
task at the
Taskmaster
end.
task. It's awful. You should not be the Taskmaster task writer, Vanessa.
Well, I'll be it for the makes you do things guy man show. Joel,
yeah.
with Joel McHale. That's
good
a task
idea.
I'll do for that.
Dia
Yeah.
Ferreira.
I did see in a Taskmaster
Carrera?
adjacent property that was done over Zoom, they played a game called Which Finger, where they held up a finger and you have to guess which finger they're holding up.
I could say
pretty
ring.
funny.
That reminds me of I guess I'll downtown brown this, but that reminds me of a great new recurring bit
That's ring. I was right.
on My Brother and Me. Which is, am I the asshole?
Oh, I like Hank Green's one.
Isn't that just a very popular Reddit group?
Yeah, well, that's the
Well,
implication,
that's the joke.
but then the actual bit is, am I an asshole? Which is, I am brown. I am a sphincter.
Let me see.
But then,
Which finger?
but then they have not been the asshole
middle
so
finger.
far. One was
Now I'm gonna say index.
one was the lips and one was an eyeball.
Matt?
Matt, which finger?
Ring finger.
It was the pinky.
Pinky.
wrong.
Wrong.
Wow,
I
what a
thought
great
maybe
game.
Pinky because you were having a hard time, like holding it up.
That's a preview of this month's bonus where we play Guess That Finger for an hour.
John, I'm glad you're
Yeah.
also listening to Bam with me because it's very funny. They
I
really
listen
are
to it
fucking
sometimes.
firing all cylinders these days, I think. Even though they're 600
Taskmasters.
episodes in. It's
Yeah.
a real inspiration for what I hope we're doing. Six
Yeah,
years
I tell
from
you,
now.
when we had
600
100 episodes, we can totally play Final Fantasy IX again.
Yeah.
100 seasons, I mean.
Yeah, we've hit 100 episodes, bud.
Seasons.
So,
100 seasons.
how many seasons in are we?
57.
All right, well.
Oh,
Over halfway to Final Fantasy 9.
I would have guessed 34.
Wow.
I mean, I'll probably be dead before we get there, but
Wait,
that's
hold
fine.
on. That's so. If there's 40, we would need to do 43 more games. Let's say each game takes approximately 5 let's say on
Let's say
average
six.
Let's say on
episodes.
average 6 episodes.
Yeah.
That's 258 episodes. Which, if you break that down
4
into
years.
that is another
5
5 years.
Yeah. Can
Many
we?
years.
Yeah.
Look at
Aw,
that
Matthew fell
mental
asleep.
math. That is why Jim makes the big bucks.
Yeah, it's true.
Jim's a
Yeah, so I
fucking
did all.
dork.
I did all of these infiltration tests, even the one where you have to turn off the robots. Vanessa, are you proud of me?
Yes, I am very proud of you. I'm very proud of you for turning off the robots.
I did them too.
Did
Tell
you
me
have-
you're proud of me.
I'm equally proud of both of you.
Wow.
But I'm worse at stealth.
That's true. Johnny had more to overcome.
Wow.
Matt
Yeah.
has
What
natural
a fucking
talent.
showboater. I need more praise.
Overcome. Johnny
I
was
do.
the underdog.
I love I mean, maybe I took I think it gives it to you in this regardless, but I had already taken the robot perk where you can turn them off from behind, which is
Yeah,
delightful.
me too. Mm-hmm. Johnny can turn men off from behind too. I mean, robots.
Why would you turn them off from behind, Vanessa? What the fuck?
It's
It was a sick burn.
Oh my
It
God.
was. All right, so let's. So what happens after we get all the bits?
Vanessa.
We head on back to the think tank, and we're told, great, now you have everything that you need to go face Dr. Morbius. And if you have a high intelligence, you can be like, how will these things help me face Dr. Morbius? And they're like, well, you know, they're going to help you face Dr. Morbius. And they don't seem to actually know why they had you get these things.
And I was like, hey. Well, I actually redid this a couple of times, and then I just took a medicine, Today's Physician magazine, and I was like, wait a minute, all these are just like related to biology and the extractions I had. Doesn't that seem weird? And they're like, huh, well, I guess it's a coincidence.
Yeah. They often refer to like having great plans, but not being able to remember what their great plans are. And so it seems like maybe they aren't quite the geniuses that they purport to be. They also are doing a lot of lobotomies for no particular reason.
Yeah.
So now we're off to face Dr. Morbius, but before we do that, we can make friends. We
Of
love
course I did.
friends.
What I liked about this was I thought this was kind of like a subversion of the UI. Like you would get quests as you were talking to them and then complete them without even finishing the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was I leveled up so many times just talking to them all.
Yeah, and most of them you can just make friends with them by talking. We'll go through them real quick. First, there's Dr. O. We need to talk to him. He obviously has some kind of chip on his shoulder. He's upset, and you just need to talk it out with him and realize that he's upset because his name is not Dr. O. It's something else that they've all mistaken for Dr. O. And I used my Math Wrath perk to realize that his name is Dr. Zero.
I guess that I didn't even have the math rat perk, and I could still guess that.
Yeah, and then he talks about how there's no way that anyone will ever know his real name because they all just read it as Dr. O, and you can be like,
I love the
just put a slash
solution
in
to
it, buddy. Put a slash. Then they'll know it's a zero.
this. He's like, and it looks dangerous and cool.
Yeah, oh, the slash, it's great. And once you suggest it, he's like, that's genius. I can't believe I didn't think of that. Dala, Matt, did you do Dala's friendship quest?
Yeah, I did all of them. She scans you. I mean, basically, she's the horniest robot you've ever met in your life. And just your breathing turns her on. And then she like, what does she do? She like slaps you with her tentacles or something?
She scans you.
Yeah, she scans you. She doesn't have tentacles, but yeah, she does scan you, and then
Listeners,
you
don't
have like
buy what Vanessa is selling. She has tentacles.
She's got arms. She's got robot arms.
yeah. You can do like 3 different motions for her, like sneezing or stretching or scratching your nose, and any of the 3 she is.
Yeah,
it just sends her right over the edge.
All I did was breathe heavily 3 times, and that was enough.
Yeah.
When
I give her a sampler
Klein,
of all.
when
Wait,
Dr.
what?
Klein is talking about
Hang on, no,
getting
wait,
the
what?
vivisector. Whoa.
What do you mean you gave her a
Vagina tape?
sample?
I give all 3 a little bit of a little taste. I hate when people say, "Give you have a taste of our new show." It's like, no, that creeps you. That's like moist to me. I hate when people say, "Have a taste," and it's not actually tasting things.
I like that Dr. Dalla, when she's talking about the vivisector, but instead of saying vivisector, she almost says vibrator. Like she's like, "Oh, you're talking about vivisector."
She did talk about running down the batteries in her vivisector.
Yeah, that's right. And then did you? You can try giving her a teddy bear too, and she says no. She's like, the lobotomites are my teddy bears. Because, like, she thinks humans are, like, little gross toys.
Did you go to her house and find her teddy bear collection in her bed that's covered in teddy bears?
I did. Yeah, you can find their houses from when they were in their bodies, and it's sort of a reused asset from a very creepy part of Fallout 3. So when I went in there, I was terrified. But as it turns out, there's no enemies there at all. You can just wander around and have a good time and look at their stuff.
That's not true.
It's not true?
There's enemies?
If you have the Wild Wasteland perk,
I do have that.
and you go to, this is Higgs, was it called Higgs Meadows or something?
Higgs Village,
Ranch?
yeah. It's
Higgs
part
Village,
of
that's it.
Boros's friendship quest to go there.
And
This
to get,
place reminded me of that virtual town you go to in Fallout 3.
That's
Is that
I
exactly
think that's
what
what
I was
Vanessa,
referring to,
that's what
yeah.
Vanessa's, I think it is the same asset.
Yeah, it is.
It looks exactly the same.
Yeah.
So this town, there is where Gabe's dog bowl is, Stripe, which is a gremlin from the movie Gremlins. He was the leader gremlin.
Oh, that's right.
There's a
I
little
forgot about
tiny
this.
death claw named Strike
Yeah.
that runs out of the doghouse, and that thing is tough. That was a tough little boss, but it was tiny, Vanessa. It was like 2 feet tall, like a gremlin.
Oh,
In
cute.
the, Valley.
I love it. Was it Adorables?
Yes, and then you kill it.
Straight adorbs.
Hmm.
I hope Muggy.
Johnny
I
loves
wish Muggy
killing
was
dogs. That's canon.
It's
Yeah.
not a dog. It's a gremlin.
It sounds like a dog.
I mean, you put a gremlin in the microwave and then turn it on and it explodes. In the what I thought was the coolest thing that had ever happened in a movie when I was like 8. I mean, 8 because I watched it. I don't know I can't do the math on that. I'm trying to figure out if I was a 20-something when I would have watched when I would have been 8 and watched Gremlins. Anyway.
Is that how you learned that Santa wasn't real?
Oh, my brothers ruined that when I was like 3.
Aww.
That's what happens if you have older brothers.
I figured it out when I was around 5 or 6 because I didn't think you could go through all those chimneys.
Is Santa a Johnny boyfriend?
No, but didn't we talk about my pitching a made-for-TV movie where I, like a Hallmark movie where I romance Santa's son?
Yeah, I think we did.
Wait, can we walk through this? What's the setup for that? How do you meet Santa's son?
I guess I'm like going to Santa's village, but I want to I'm probably an executive from Toyco, and we're going to like modernize Santa's village and replace all the elves with like robots. And
Oh, so you're like the modern guy. You're trying to make Santa hip and cool.
and
like
ruin it.
with AI elves.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
yeah.
The robots will be called elves, and they'll stand for electronic linguistic fronts. I don't know. No, that wasn't good. Fabricators.
Yeah.
Electronic lifelike fabricators. They're elves. And so then he would teach me the true meaning of Christmas, and then I'd have a kind of, an affair with his dad as well.
Oh wow! That went from made for TV movie to hardcore porno pretty quick.
There was I watched They Came Together. I finished that this weekend. It had a couple of good jokes, but it seems like, because it's all the Wet Hot American Summer people, one of them, whoever wrote that, has a thing for older women, because there's two very explicit, like, horny older women with Paul Rudd sequences.
Oh, interesting.
That joke comes back with two different women. Anyway, it wasn't a great movie, but it was fine.
Are we
That's
done
my
with
hot
this
review.
chunker yet?
No. So
I wish we were.
to translate eight static, it's basically you have to talk to him like how people talk to R2D2, right? Like that's how you translate it.
Yeah, you basically just start talking to him as if you understand it.
Like an R2D2.
And then Boros, once we get the dog bowl from either the pleasant, peaceful village or the place with the gremlin, and either kill or do not kill his dog, he is friendly with us.
I really liked that little bit of character development where he's like, I have this strange feeling when I see this bowl. That the dog obviously benefited from its role in science. I'm like, no, maybe you just killed your dog and feel bad about it. And he's like, perhaps that's irrational, but you might be right.
Yeah. None of them seem to have emotions anymore, human emotions or...
Dala has one.
I guess she has one. Is horny an emotion?
No.
Yeah.
It's more of a physical response,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
Aren't emotions physical responses too, though?
Maybe. I mean, it's all just
No, there are
chemistry, isn't it?
no emotions or emotional responses.
But there's a physical aspect to emotional response, and you can physically manifest.
There are
emotional responses.
physiological, yes.
Yeah.
How fascinating. What great science. We can also upgrade different parts of our apartment. We can find things for the central intelligence to sell. We can turn on the
I only found a
auto
couple of
dog.
those.
Yeah. The auto
He's
dog
a
will...
nice country doctor.
Nice country doctor who will install implants in us and also give us haircuts and plastic surgery.
I reset my skills. I took Wild Wasteland again, but I switched out another skill for something that was a bit more useful at high level. And I like that. Yeah, it lets you redo your initial perk.
Jim, can you talk about the biological research station?
Yeah, he is like he's like a smooth talking
Ladies man.
ladies man that insists that you give it your seed. And I took some screenshots of some of the dialogue. Let me pull it up here. He says, "You got seeds? I'll clone the shit out of them." and then
Fill me with your
can,
seed.
You can give it a directive, and the directive is, "I command you to open your port and receive my seed." And it's like, and it says, "Oh yeah, baby, just slip it in there, all the way down in that dark, moist earth." And then it says, launching interface. Pretty good.
I'm not so sure that this thing is a ladies' man after you've described how into seed it is.
True.
I meant ladies man like it sounds like the character.
Yeah,
Ladies'
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
There's Blind Diode Jefferson, who's a jukebox. And the book
He
shoot.
reprograms the barks on
Yeah.
your sonic emitter.
There's a book shoot that hates communism and wants seditious material, by which it means any book. And it will chomp it up
burn
and, it will take a intact book and spit out a blank book for you.
Yeah. And
Now-
the toaster is evil and bent on world domination. No,
The toaster does
that
do
the
a
toaster?
Red
That
Dwarf
is a toaster.
reference.
Yeah.
There is a Red Dwarf reference in the toaster. And
What does it
says,
say?
Oh, does anyone want some toast? Is a line that the sentient toaster in Red Dwarf
Oh.
says.
Oh, he also says when you first turn him on, he says, "I am online once again. Tremble world before my electric heating coil of doom." He's bent on just killing everyone.
Yep.
Now, Vanessa, these
Yes.
light switches are horny ladies.
They
Or
are.
femme voices. Is every woman in this DLC at least somewhat horny?
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
'Cause
Actually, now that you
suits,
mention
at
it.
least, the stealth suit's maybe not horny, but at least romantically needy.
Yep. And then there's the robot scientist and the light switches, and those are the only women in the DLC, and yep, they're all horny.
Oh, well, yeah.
Just like real women.
That's been my experience.
At the Wing Shack.
Wing house. Thank you.
I had to tip them so much because they were so into me.
Yeah, it would seem cruel not
maybe they'll
to.
be into me if I tip them a lot.
They'll remember me when I come back next time if I leave a big tip.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, they will. They go, this idiot.
I think the term
Man.
is mark.
Or I was going to say or John, but it's not quite that kind of
I
transaction.
guess I should start. Is it appropriate to tip your stand-up comic?
No.
No?
Oh, okay, then
What?
I won't do it.
No, that's
I was
just.
gonna
Did
say-
you try
that's
to
just creepy,
did you try to
Vanessa.
slide a $5 bill into Tim Key or
Yeah,
what's his
you're
name?
like,
Tim,
Tim,
Key's G string.
Great job.
Good job. No, he did a meet and greet afterwards, and I, of course, fled into the night because I can't handle that kind of thing.
Why would you want
No,
to?
I don't
Yeah.
want to.
I mean, they're just there because somebody has paid extra, and you know that they are desperate to not speak to you.
yeah, they're like bored and tired from doing their show, and I have paid my money, and the entertainment came out. That is the end of our business, as far as I'm concerned.
Our transaction has concluded.
Our transaction has concluded. You don't pay them to do the comedy. You pay them to leave at the end of it. Am I right?
No, that doesn't make a lot of sense, actually. You pay them to do the comedy.
Yeah.
That's what
you're
you
right.
pay them for.
Yeah.
Vanessa, that was a real aughts adult comedy joke.
Yeah, Jim got it.
I missed it.
Vanessa said you pay them to leave after it's over, not pay them for their service, pay them to leave. Like when you pay someone to leave the next morning, like leave money on your nightstand kind of joke.
No, it's
So,
it's
Vanessa,
like yes.
sorry, you finish your bit with Jim and then we'll
It's an
move on.
old joke, and I don't know from whom, but the joke is that you don't pay a sex worker for the sex; you pay them to leave afterwards.
It's a terrible joke.
Oh!
It is a terrible joke.
You pay them for the
And-
sex. Not that I would know.
So
No.
you say you can find the remnants
Downtown Brown,
of Elijah,
No.
Veronica, and another courier.
I'm gonna
Yes.
I
gym
talked to
Nothing gets
I
cut.
talked to Zero and Klein and 8 about these people. I didn't hear
Yeah.
anything about do you mean Christine? Veronica,
Oh
I
yes,
don't
I
think ever
do
went.
mean Christine. I apologize.
Okay.
That's a typo
Okay.
in the notes.
Okay.
So cut all that out.
Nope.
Okay.
Cut out
So you
everything
say
about
you
sex
find
work
the
and
remnants.
everything about my typo.
Yeah, Downtown Brown, Vanessa. That's what you got to say.
Downtown Brown.
That doesn't work on me.
You find the remnants of Elijah, Christine, and another courier. The only remnants I found was talking about them to Klein and Christine.
Oh,
Or
they're
no,
all
Klein
over
and
this place.
0 and 8.
No, you can find places where Elijah was hiding out, scattered around the map, and if you go to his like final place that he hid out, you can find his prototype Tesla cannon up there.
Ooh.
You can
Oh,
find
that's cool.
symbols painted on the walls from this other courier that they keep referring to, as well as journal entries.
Oh, I found
Oh,
those.
yeah.
I found those symbols. I didn't
Those
know
like
what they
flag
meant.
symbols.
Yeah.
That's his mark. That ties into Lonesome Road.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
They talked about Christine quite a bit. And they also talk about like the like I think the auto doc talks about the other auto docs and how he feels sorry for the ones that live in the Sierra Madre because it's empty and there's
Yeah.
no one there.
Yep. You can also find the place where the holograms were made that show up in the Sierra Madre.
I didn't go there.
So yeah, you can find a lot of the technology that shows up there originated here.
I did find the botanical center, which the seed guy. Well, in the ending, the seed machine.
Yeah,
went to.
that's like his little epilogue. He gets transferred to the botanical garden.
It was pretty ruined, but it does mention that this is because you do find like the patient 0, which is one of the researchers or test subjects that gets converted into a plant monster, which is related to
that's right,
Vault
yeah.
2,
Yeah.
I believe. There's also they talk about, and this is part of like the overall Fallout. Like that video I posted in the Square Roots group goes into like the Fallout lore stuff that I didn't know much about, like the pre-war stuff, like the torturing of the Chinese. What do you call them? What was it? Internment camps.
Yeah.
And how they were turned into test subjects, and prison of war were turned into test subjects. Oh, that was. And there is stuff about that here. Like a lot of the lobotomites were Chinese prisoners and stuff. Yeah.
And they're wearing bomb collars, some of them too.
Oh, that's interesting.
And you can
Yeah, that's
find,
where he got his bomb collars.
Yeah, you
from.
can find a guard tower where
Oh,
Elijah left a journal entry being like, "I'm having these bomb collars, sweet." Yeah, so it's full of interesting sights to see. You don't have to go to all of them. Most of them have either the personalities for the things in your apartment or upgrades for them. Like you can upgrade the book chute to also chew up pencils and give you lead from that.
But crafting, I feel like that stuff would have worked better in Fallout 4, where crafting was such a much bigger
Right.
part
Yeah.
of the game than in Fallout New
That
Vegas.
sounds terrible.
No, it's really fun. It
It's
makes all the
delightful.
junk you find useful if you want, and you can ignore it. You don't have.
Yeah.
There's no point in the game where you have to do it
Yeah.
ever.
Matt hasn't really talked about Muggy, his favorite character.
I
You
love
Oh,
can
Muggy.
get into
Muggy's
that.
great.
I love Muggy. Muggy is a tiny little Securitron, and he is angry at his creator, which I think is Ouroboros.
Yeah, I think it was Dr. Boris. Yes, it was.
Because Dr. Boris saw the Securitrons and was like, he was jealous, I guess, and decided to create a tiny version that would do dishes just because he was such a petty little bitch, basically.
Well, yeah, because he hated Mr. House so much, and
it was
Rob
Dr.
Co-
O.
Oh, was it Dr. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
Do-
Dr. O.
because he hated Mr. House and Rob Co. so much. He was so jealous of the Securitrons. He's like, those are big pieces of garbage. Vanessa, I did find the Securitron processing facility where they dismantle Securitrons. And there's there was one that was called like 01011110. And that thing is the hardest thing I've fought in that game. For sure.
Yeah, there are some named enemies just kind of scattered around for funsies.
Yep. I fought the one in the Cuckoo's Nest, and I fought that one, and I fought Patient 0.
Anyway,
That was
Muggy
really-
wants you to bring him dirty dishes.
I found
And
this
he
one before I
shits out
found
Wonder
Muggy.
Glue, basically. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's funny and
Before I
it's
found
fun
Muggy,
to
I
like
found
open
this
it
one-
up, but once you do, the reward is garbage, which is how I felt about most
Not
of,
worth the effort.
most of the things we've been talking about here: the sink, the auto dock, the fucking biological research station, the light switches, all of them. Like, fun idea, fun to open it up so it'll talk to you, but once you do, like, what a waste of fucking time.
I feel like this DLC wanted you to be so psyched to spend time with all these talking things in your own little apartment.
finally
It wanted
have
you
friends.
to treat this as like a little hub, but man, I just did not want to do that at all.
Well, I liked it. I just the rewards for doing the I did find a house that was full of coffee cups. I was like, what's this all about? That was before I found Muggy, and it made a lot more sense after that. But one thing that this DLC does, and I feel like it's on purpose, is there's so many boxes that contain nothing. Like looting, it's so hard to find one stim pack. It's hard to find when you're out of stim packs. Nothing. None of these boxes have nothing. They have Wonder Glue. They have a toaster. They have a cup. Nothing you need other than if you want to engage with those particular mechanics. And that got very frustrating because
Hated it.
I spent I was wondering if the DLC was like trying to train you to not open every box because I feel like it was specifically punishing me, like because
I think
opened
these
every box.
DLCs want you to like craft shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so much better done in Fallout 4 that I didn't want to really.
For sure.
And so even 76 does a much better job with it because that basically takes the same craft technique from Fallout 4.
You want to hear a funny anecdote about Fallout 76?
Sure.
Yeah.
The senior vice president of IT at the new company I work for said in a meeting the other day that he's a huge gamer. And so like I messaged him and I was like, hey, like I heard you like to play video games. What do you play? And like we were just talking about gaming and I was like, yeah, I'm actually playing New Vegas right now. And he's like, I love Fallout. He's like, except for 76. He's like, I hated that. What a disappointment. I was like, that's really funny.
They definitely fixed a lot of it, but it's still, if you want a single player Fallout, it's not the same thing.
No, it's
Yeah,
not at all.
yeah.
And I think when it first came out, it was quite poorly received, right?
Yeah, well, because all the
Oh,
NPCs
for sure,
weren't
yeah.
there. Like
Yeah,
it was
they
just
said
robots.
it was totally. Yeah, they said no humans allowed was the headline of I think maybe the Kotaku review of it because it was just devoid of people.
Yeah.
All right, but I did like how big. I thought this was a big, fun place to explore. I was really surprised at how huge the area is and how much stuff there is. I guess this is more of a review at the end, but I just wanted to say that I liked exploring.
All right, so we collect our stuff and we go back to the robots and tell them that we've collected them. They scan the stuff and then they send you off to kill Dr. Morbius.
Mobius. Is it Morbius or Mobius?
Well, it's Morbius in the notes. So,
Dr. Mobius. It's not Morbin time. It's Mobin
Dr.
time.
Morbius.
Morbin time.
It's Morbin time. We should say that we mentioned it earlier. Dr. Morbius unleashes these robo scorpions, and basically anytime you
Robo-Scorpions.
complete a quest, these things show up everywhere, and it's fucking obnoxious. Anyway, I mean they're funny, but
I did find one of Elijah's cats.
head to the Forbidden Zone, which is Dr. Morbius's lair. And we have to fight the
It's not a movie by Oingo Boingo?
giant robo scorpion. How did you all handle this?
This was fun.
So, my epic battle. I entered into stealth before I went in this room. I stayed in stealth. And I killed the robo scorpion without it noticing me. It took a few shots.
I did something similar,
But
but I had
never
a
saw
tough
me.
time where I kept trying to shoot the robo scorpion and was shooting the bars like on the side of the platforms instead, and it was really fucking annoying. There
I've
is
been
a way,
using a gun.
presumably because I found that I think there's a way to sneak up to an upper balcony and disable the scorpion. And there's also
Why you ask Johnny how he handled it?
and there's also a way to turn on some robots, some Securitrons to fight the Scorpion, which the thing that lets you turn it on also says, like, the Scorpion will have no problem handling this. But you can just kind of stand off to the side and shoot it while it fights them.
Yeah.
How did
So
you all...
I did the...
How did you
John, how did you
all
handle this situation?
Handle the situation, Vanessa?
I just told you.
She already did. John, how'd you do it?
Yeah.
I first walked in, and then one hit killed me with a bolt of lightning. And I was like, oh. And then I was like, well, at least it saved before I walked in. And it loaded my autosave, and it's just standing in front of him again. I'm like, come on, no. So I immediately turned on a stealth boy. I found a couple of those. So I turned one on, and it couldn't see me anymore. So then I walked over. I wish I'd still had that stealth armor. I did not. I wonder if I used, like, all the equipment that I was supposed to use. Like, maybe that would make you immune to the lightning or something.
I don't know.
Anyway, so I walked up the upper balconies and just turned it off. And that was it. But that was fun. I liked
It
it.
would be cool if the coil worked as like a lightning rod and protected you
Yeah, I
from
wonder if
that
it
attack.
does. Because I
Maybe it
didn't have
does.
it equipped. These people that made this game are smart. I bet they thought of that.
I've
Jim,
been
how'd
using
you
a
handle
gun
it?
called Pew Pew that only
Where'd you get
fires
that?
2 shots. I think you buy it from a little kid who's running around Freeside.
Oh, okay.
And it's a special electric gun, and it only fires 2 shots, but it's quite powerful.
Did you guys find that Securitron that wasn't named Securitron? It was like 01001111110011.
Yes. That is the toughest enemy I've fought in this game.
Yeah, it was. It took so long to kill.
What about the Scorpion, Jim? What do you do?
I just shot it. I went head on. I was also playing with God mode turned on, so I killed it pretty quick. I'm still
asked
relying on that
Andraste.
automatic. So yeah, Andraste. I'm still relying. My main weapon is still that automatic rifle I found in the Sierra Madre casino. That thing is so powerful.
And from there, I thought, okay, there's probably going to be a final dungeon. But no, you open the door, and Dr. Mobius, not Morbius, is there.
Dun, dun, dun! Dr. Morbius, who's been sending us threatening messages this whole time about taking over the world. And you go up to him, and he's like, oh, hi! It's me, Dr. Morbius. What a pleasure to meet you.
No, he's like, oh yeah, I probably had a few too many psychos that day. I dumped them into my tank, and
Yeah.
you know, I record those messages.
Yeah.
He's addicted to Mentats and Psycho.
Yep. But he loves his mentats the most. He likes to chomp them up. And he's like, so I guess you're probably here for your brain, huh? Yeah, it's right up there. And as long as it wants to go with you, you're welcome to have it.
When he is somewhat lucid, he does mention that his goal in being like the antagonist of this whole area is to keep the think tank intelligences, I'll call them, from testing on people outside of Big Mountain.
Yeah.
So he's essentially setting him up as this evil like scientist who's hell bent on destroying them to keep them contained. Like he's worried they're going to start testing on other people. And that's also why we were like talking earlier about why they had us go collect these things. The reason why is because Mobius told them to for no reason. He just trying to keep them occupied.
Yep.
There is some reason to it because they will enable you to get your spine and your brain and stuff back, right? There is a biological reason for getting all those things.
Why don't they just put your spine back? Why do you need to get the like antenna or whatever?
There was if you get pass all your medicine checks, it explains it. It was very complicated.
It's a very complicated medical
Oh,
procedure.
okay. Hold on. According to the wiki, it says these technologies, a sonic emitter, the X2 antenna, stealth suit, are actually all the components required to rehouse a brain inside a body.
Oh.
So they're necessary for you to get your brain back.
Yeah, it's
That's
very.
it. Yeah, I knew that it was
it's
part of
comic
that.
book science. It's nonsense.
Yeah.
And Dr. Morbius also explains that he has trapped all of these
Morbin time.
the think tank members in basically a time loop. And in fact, their names are a reference to that because they all have names that reference circles or looping in some way. Like 8 is an infinity, 0 is a circle.
Yeah, Dr. Boros, Ouroboros, is a snake that eats its own tail.
Well,
Yep.
and obviously we all know that Klein means loop.
Yeah, I didn't know what Klein meant.
Well, also
That means
Darla.
Oh, Klein means loop?
and Darla were the ones that I was like,
No, it's not. But it's not. It's not
Dala.
Darla. It's a Dala.
Like a mandala.
Yeah.
What's a mandala?
It's a circle.
Your face.
Thank you.
Your face is kind of a mandala.
Yeah, so he's like, you just gotta get. I want you to get past these guys, and you're like, and plus your plan. I told him that his plan failed because they got scans of everything. He's like, oh, whoops, oh well.
Oh, so the mandala translates to sacred center or circle, which symbolizes harmony and unity,
Oh,
And Klein,
and also is a pattern that repeats.
yeah, Klein is of course named after Felix Klein, who created the Klein bottle, a two-dimensional, non-orientable object in four-dimensional space.
That would have been
Oh,
great
that's
if you
interesting.
didn't sound like you were reading off of your phone.
Sorry, yeah, he's named after the Klein guy who made the bottle.
Dr.
That's a
Morbius is
non-orientable.
like actually pretty
You
cool.
guys know that loop, that like 2D, 3D, 4D space I always talk about?
Yeah,
It's that guy.
that guy.
oh, the bottle, the 2D 4D bottle.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2D
yeah.
bottle, 4D space guy, remember?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
Listeners, they're all
So-
full of shit right now.
yeah. So we go to talk to our brain, who is a gentleman.
It's a
Sort
great
of.
like British accent. I don't know. I love this.
Yeah.
I was like, why don't you sound like a dude? Or why do you sound like a girl? And the brain's like, did you know how hard it was to find a vocalizer here in the Big MT? Let alone finding one that was feminine coded. I mean, it's the patriarchy.
And your brain doesn't want to go with you at first because brain is like, I am safe in here.
I love this so
He also
much.
says, "Do you know how much I get done when I don't have to worry about looking for places for you to go pee?"
This is so good, Vanessa.
Don't you entice him with like violence? Don't you like remember how gratifying it is to shoot
You
people?
could.
And he's like, oh yeah.
I didn't entice him with violence, but I did sort of talk about, what about all the good times we've had together and exploration and, maybe you only think that you don't want to be with me now because you're cut off from, all the chemical impulses that make being in a body a good thing.
John, when did you say this game came out? 2000.
This is 2011.
Nine?
Yeah. 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
This is a very 2011 piece of trivia. According to the wiki, the voice actor for the brain said his performance was an homage to Stewie Griffin, whose voice lived in his brain.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this whole chunker is canceled.
So then your brain picks up a tuba and starts following you around playing a song, right?
Oh, Vanessa, finally you'll be able to play a tuba for Matt
Yeah.
in Fallout 76.
So we talk our brains back into our heads. At least that's what I did. Or not back into your head. It just decides to go with you.
Yeah.
Because
It doesn't go back into your head. You put it in your pocket.
Yeah. And a good reason to do this is that you are, when you're in the think tank, you are under the influence of a violence inhibitor. So you can't attack the doctors. But if you have your brain with you, you can. For science reasons.
So what happens if you can you not get your brain back?
Yes.
I suppose. Oh, is that what happened to you, Matt?
I had to redo the end of this chunker a couple of times because I was very uncomfortable with the concept of not getting my brain back.
I see.
Did you get in an argument with your brain?
No, I got through this part okay.
So did any of you kill Dr. Morbius because he's an evil villain? You always have that option.
No, I didn't kill Morbius.
I definitely said to him that it's Morbin time, but I did not kill him.
Yeah, I didn't either. After I picked up my brain and stuck it in my pocket, you can go talk to him and he can be like, okay, so the think tank, like, they really can't be unleashed on the wasteland. And right now they think that nothing survived the war and they're in sort of their time loop here. But like, you've seen all the horrible experiments they do here. We don't need that out in the world right now, and maybe not ever. So you need to figure out how to keep them from going outside. You can kill them. Maybe you can threaten them. That's what I did. Make them afraid. But it's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
So we head on back.
When you get three options when you talk to Dr. Klein.
Yeah.
And I swear all three of them led to him fighting me the first time I tried it, and the second and third. I was like, I don't want to fight him. So then I loaded my game, and then I made sure to I hadn't installed the sync yet. And so I installed the sync, and then it seemed to let me. But I don't know if to talk my way through it. But it might have been that I just didn't pick the first one the first time. Vanessa, did you have this problem?
No, I didn't have this problem. I was able to science him pretty well because I had max science at this point.
But I couldn't even it seemed like no matter
Science.
the
He's
initial
the best
three
character in the game.
the initial three choices all led to fighting. But it might be that I didn't actually pick the first one.
Yeah, I think you must not. I don't know anything about like upgrading the sync relating to that. But ultimately, because I was bestie friends with the other four scientists,
Max Science.
they really sort of overrode his decision to try to fight and kill me.
I think it
Matt,
helps.
tell us about your terrible choices that you made.
Well, I made great choices. I kind of ran through all of the options here. I lied to them and told them that I was Dr. Morbius, that I had inserted Morbius's brain into my body. Mm-hmm. And that actually was a good ending. They kowtowed to me basically and decided to do what I wanted. Then I did the option where I threatened them and was like, well, guess what? The pacification field is off, and I murdered them all. I didn't like that. And then I finally just kind of said, I talked to them and talked to Klein and was like, well, why don't you ask your compatriots here what they think? And they all had my back because I had friended them all. And they loved me. Dr. Klein did whatever I told him. And then I left and put my brain back in my body. Like an adult.
What about you, Jim?
I killed all the doctors and put my brain back in my body.
What? You monster.
They needed to be put down. They were a danger to the wasteland.
I mean, he's not wrong.
That's true.
Did you see the experiments they were doing?
Yeah, they're pretty awful.
I chose the choice of, hey, why don't you, you'll be doing my bidding now at the end. Because I figured that's what Vanessa would do, right?
Well, what I did with them, I'm like, hey, listen, it's really dangerous out there in the world. Why don't you guys stay here? I'll go out. I'll be, out about in the world. You can do your science in safety, and we'll just work together. And they agreed to that. And then in the ending, sort of voiceover that I got, it talked about how the courier watched over the big empty, and then sort of trickled out new technologies when appropriate for helping people in the wasteland.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so once we've made that decision, we do get a sort of end cut scene that talks about the consequences of our actions. What were your consequences, Jim?
It's crazy long. It goes on for 100 hours.
It's super
And
long.
I was
liked that it
fucking
was
falling
every
asleep.
single upgrade. Every single upgrade you did.
I like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like it. Like it's funny in concept. It was obnoxious in execution.
It was a long thing to sit through. I will say my favorite little bit from this. I don't remember exactly what happened, what it said about the courier, but I will say that I liked Muggy's ending the most, which is where he accidentally locked himself in Higgs Village, the little neighborhood, and just spent his days cleaning everyone's kitchen except for Dr. O, which he ignored out of revenge for creating him.
I like the jukebox had its own ending, where it briefly dated the light switches. But couldn't remember
The,
their names, and then they
Yeah.
dumped him.
The
I can't remember their names, so
the book shoot just continued to try to destroy communism wherever it went.
What did the hottie and the naughty do?
They, I think, eventually relocated to a different station.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the seed thing, the Biological Research Center requested a transfer to the Botanical Garden, where it lives now. The toaster, did the toaster eventually die,
yeah,
didn't he?
Yeah.
they kill him. The
They
other,
dumped him
Yeah,
in
they
the
kill,
bath.
they kill the
personalities
toaster
kill
when
him.
they find out how murderous it is, right?
And they
Yeah.
drop him
And I
in
think-
a
I-
tub, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then the end little scene, I actually took a screenshot of it. It says, sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Also, the sink floods the fucking Big MT because it is
Yeah.
so desperate.
It's trying to clean it.
That's funny. Oh, good DLC, guys.
Yep. And we are gifted a transporter gun that allows us to pop back
Go back
to
and
the sink
forth, yeah.
whenever we want to. And it's handy because the vendor in there, the vendor bot, has like 20,000 caps almost. So you can sell your gold bars there. You can, even if you're over encumbered, you can travel back there and drop things off.
Oh,
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's useful. I didn't think about that. So you can like load up on stuff and just go zoop zoop.
So that's that. Matt, what are you roundly for or squarely against
where are we
about
playing
the
to
big...
next time, Vanessa?
Okay, well, next time we're finishing the game.
Oh, wow. Really?
Well, wait. I thought there was 2 more episodes.
No, there's this one and one more.
Ah, I'm gonna probably try and play Lonesome Road this weekend.
But I also think it's appropriate for us to at least talk about what happened in it. We don't have to
Yeah.
spend like 45 minutes on it, but talking about like the implications of Lonesome Road, I think is important.
because
to telling the story.
really
Yeah.
not that much happens in it except for the end part.
I won't do it.
Sounds good.
It's not going to happen.
Well, you can heckle us as we talk about it. How about that?
Matt, what are you squarely against besides us playing Lonesome Road?
I'm squarely against Vanessa.
Okay.
I'm squarely against how fucking tanky these enemies were. I don't know if it was the same situation for all of you. I felt like I was over leveled for this, I guess. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm wrong, but I just, for me, in this chunker, this ate up so many resources that I was really frustrated about it. Like, I liked a lot of the dialogue here. I think this was a good DLC, but I wish I would have done 15 levels earlier. You know? Everybody's nodding their head, so that's good
I feel you, Dow.
podcasting. Jim, what are you squarely against?
I will say I'm squarely against the length of the DLC. I think it's I think it's a little too open worldy. I think the Sierra Madre one really worked because it was a more linear experience, and that allowed them to kind of write to that. This one felt like overly broad with its humor a little bit. There's a lot of unfunny stuff, or stuff that was just like, oh yeah, that's a joke, I guess. And it just didn't feel as like it didn't feel as tight. The stuff in the school, like. It was very kind of broad and a little cliche. A guy older guy getting revenge on his high school where he was bullied. It just wasn't super interesting and was too broad. And I feel like when you have like a science fiction setting like this, you kind of have to write to that. And this one kind of didn't. It's a little too broad and wacky, I think. So that's my squarely against. John, what about you?
I like broad. I like wacky. The high school just wasn't very well written compared to the rest of the DLC, which I thought was amazing. I loved how horny it was. We never get to play a game that's this horny.
It was way horny, yeah.
Except, what was the one game this year that we played that we're like, this is so horny?
Kami.
No, Lunar.
Kami was super horny.
Was it Lunar as well? Yeah, with the porno.
Lunar was horny too.
Yeah. But this was horny in a less creepy way. Yeah.
Lunar was predatory, kind of horny.
I really like how big and open world this is. If I had more time, which I don't, I would have gone to every location just because I like the vibe. I like the 60s Forbidden Planet kind of feel to everything. And I like that it had serious bits about Fallout lore. And I don't know that much about Fallout lore. I'm just starting to watch some videos with that. And that was cool. Vanessa, what about you?
Can I make one suggestion? John, if you're into like Fallout lore videos, there's a YouTuber that I follow called Gingy, Gingy, who only does like story recaps and story analyses of like big franchises. And he has a really big, long, great video about New Vegas. So I would say check that out. It's very involved and he's very pleasant to listen to. He's never on camera. It's all game footage. I would say check it out. It's really good.
Thanks for asking, guys. I
was about to ask. He interrupted me as I was saying.
I'm roundly for erect hand penises. I think they're great.
Jim, what's a Patreon?
You can find all of our bonus content at patreon.com/squarerootspodcast. A lot of great content. We've had a Patreon for a while. We do level up episodes. We've got movie commentaries. We've got discussions of other games, like if we opportunistically play an RPG or another game. There's a lot of cool episodes about stuff like that. You can sign up for that at patreon.com/squarerootspodcast. When you do sign up, if you do so at the $3 level, you get all that great content. If you sign up at the $5 level, you get all the bonus episodes plus the ability to vote for the games that we play on the show. We just had a vote end. Our next game in this series, which I guess we can formally announce since this is a penultimate episode of our New Vegas series, is going to be Final Fantasy IV.
Yay!
Yeah, so check that out. Play any of the half dozen versions there are out there.
So many versions.
Yeah, a lot of versions of Final Fantasy IV out there. Check that out. We're going to start that in a couple weeks. Another benefit of being a patron is we like to personally thank some of them on the show. Matt, why don't you kick us off because I don't have the notes.
We don't like to do it, but I would like to thank Angel. I'm sorry, let me do that again. Angel, Andy Best, Cameron Shoey, Soul Wagner, Sexy Grandma's Retirement Home, Jake Dickerson, Ari Kupovara, and Jason Timms.
I'd like to thank Seth G. For Square Roots Podcast, I'm Stim Stanks. I'm Orcus the Great, J-Bone, Eric Pitkameni, Armin Hammer, John Scala, John B. Quaker Oatman. Get in the dually, Angel.
I'd like to thank Ron, Ward Childress, Kodab Games, Oh No David Shook, Keysby Knight, RPS Siege. I guess it's RP Siege. And Joseph.
I'd like to thank John S. Van Banks. Might be my new favorite Patreon name. Aaron, I'd rather not live my life as Sheet Metal Little. Star Drifter, Nofford, Eric Garby, My Battery is Low, Adam H., and The Big Empty. All right, friends, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the air, you can send us an email to squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or find us on Blue Sky at squarerootspod.bsky.social.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, Ghana, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks to Stephen Morris for our Square Roots theme. You can find Stephen on Twitter as Beige on Beige and on YouTube. He's also on Blue Sky. Links in the show notes.
All right, for Square Roots, I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm the horny biological seed robot.
And I'm Muggy.
Yay!
Bye.
Bye.
I feel like we need, if we're marking something in our track as needed to be cut, should have something more distinct than Downtown Brown that'll show up in the waveform.
Wow, it's too late. All right, you fucking asshole.
Yep.
You did this. You don't get to
It's
complain
Downtown Brown.
about it.
Yeah, sorry, man.
What did I do?
You invented
wouldn't
Downtown Brown.
I'll tell you what you
didn't
did.
like
wasn't
the
even
old
on the
system of
Downtown
cut this
Brown
out.
episode.
Part of an episode where everybody was like, please cut this. And you didn't because you clearly weren't paying attention. And then you complained that we weren't clear enough. And you said, if we want to cut something, cut this isn't good enough, which, okay. But also you said, we all must say Downtown Brown. And now that's been a running
I
joke
said
for
that?
a month.
Yes.
And now that's what
Yeah.
we do, Jim. And you don't get to complain about the thing that you suggested. That's not how it
Yeah,
works.
it's true.
Downtown
Double
Brown.
down.
I like. Okay. You
Double
know what? Since I
down.
know that I made the initial joke, I like Downtown Brown.
Jim will Trump,
Yay.
double down and make it work.
And if you need to see what Downtown Brown looks like in a WAV file, you need to save a little WAV file of each of us saying it and compare it to our tracks when you're editing.
I should.
Wave files are that accurate, by the way. It's not just a spike.
Yeah.
Vanessa would know that if she edited the show.
Sometimes I edit the bonus.
I'm burning all of you
true.
right now, but not Johnny, because Johnny's a prince among men
Oh,
and
thank you.
women.
I edit the show.
Not the last time.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but you also left out the part where I was like, oh, that's really personal. Can you cut that, please?
Didn't I start
Hey,
editing
Jim,
the
when
show
you
like
edit the
in
show, have you ever
January?
considered actually listening to the words that people say, or do you just...
I do, but I did just because John was like, whenever John says maybe cut this, in my what he's actually saying is, don't worry about cutting this. So you know what? I don't worry about cutting it.
All right, well, now that we've hashed this all out and we're all mad at each other, let's continue.